Hey guys, welcome into the show. It's Cancel This. Good Thursday morning, December 29th, as we get ready to put a cap on the year that was 2022. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel, Eric Johnson en route somewhere. We've got Scotty Boom Boom. Call him Scotty Boom Boom this morning. He walked in and said, anybody ever called you that? He's like, yeah, in a previous show, somebody called me Scotty Boom Boom. It's like, damn, I thought I was being creative.
One
Scott
of those
Gherkin
things you
here.
wish never stuck, but it did.
Did you like that name?
It don't matter. Sure.
I don't know. It just seems right.
It does flow off the tongue nicely.
I mean,
right?
you're a lead singer of a rock band. It's like Scotty Boom Boom on the vocals. Anyway, you're into Cancel This, canceltheshow.com. Thanks for joining us this morning. We got a lot to talk about as we do every single day because there's always content. We've got tons of content. And by the way, we appreciate everybody jumping into the show yesterday. We continue to grow on a daily basis. Share the show, canceltheshow.com. What's your line that you made up again? Share the what? Share the lies before
share the show.
Before they share the truth.
Share the truth faster than they spread the lies.
All right, I was just messing.
And
with
how
you.
true it is, because they are spreading the lies pretty darn fast these days.
Guys, we appreciate. I see. You know what though? I start to see the backlash that Eric talked about for years. The fact that Elon Musk is in a situation where he's able to release documents, it makes me feel better. It makes me feel as if, hey, we might be getting beat down in this basketball game, but we just hit a 3-point shot. And then we followed it up with another one. And we're like, oh, maybe there's some hope out there. Are you following the analogy? I know you don't understand anything about sports.
I don't, but no, I follow your analogy. And I think you're right. We are seeing backlash.
But I'm feeling pretty good this morning. I'll talk to the listeners and I'll talk to Scott since Tabitha, you have no idea. We're a St. Louis-based show, but this podcast is talking to international audiences. I went to Mizzou. I'm a Mizzou basketball fan. Our team has been dreadful for a long time. And now we're 12-1 and have beaten 2 consecutive ranked teams, and not just beat, but kicked the crap out of them. Illinois and Kentucky. Sorry, Kentucky fans. Sorry, Illinois fans. Mizzou is having a damn good year. And they beat the hell out of Kentucky last night. So I'm happy this morning.
I didn't see that. So that's
Mizzou.
Wow.
Thank you, Mizzou.
That's a big win.
Hell yes, it is. They are 12-1. They'll get ranked this weekend. Then they'll play Arkansas next week, who is another damn good team, another top 10 ranked team. So I'm excited this morning. Also excited because we're going to chance to meet some listeners and viewers tonight. We are having our kickoff bash. It's in the Chesterfield Valley, Winty, 7 p.m. to close. And we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun. I have talked to some people. It's, we wish we could make it, but it's the holiday season, so we're traveling. But once again, we had to pick a date where we could do it because of Eric's rock schedule.
I know. We have to do it during the
so
week.
He's like, I can't do it on Fridays. I can't do it on Saturdays throughout January. So here we are. The weather's pretty good from a temperature standpoint. The difference between last Thursday and this Thursday, from a wind chill standpoint, is about 80 degrees.
Oh, isn't that insane? It is.
And I'm not
to be
kidding.
beautiful.
The high's today 60. Last week it was minus like 15, minus 20.
It's a little rainy, but it is a beautiful.
No, the rain. It's
warm
raining
day.
this morning, but the rain's stopping.
I know. I can't wait. It's going to be a fantastic time for a kickoff party. And you know, Vic, I think it's going to be packed. At
Packed
Wendy's.
house.
I think it is going to be absolutely packed. So
Well,
be prepared for that.
They're all coming for Tabitha's tea.
I thought they were coming for the cancel this shot. Yes. They created.
That's what I meant.
Oh, the tab tea. I got you.
You said it was sour.
Hey,
They had to use something that was sour.
I'm sorry.
Her favorite color is blue. It'll be blue. She's sour. It has a sour part to it.
oh my goodness.
No, but it's also a little bit sweet.
I am nothing but sweet, Vic.
You actually, you're
Nothing
more like
but
you're more
sweets.
like a little sweet and salty. Anyway, we appreciate you jumping in. We try to have some fun. It's all about energy here. Jump into the show, participate. go to canceltheshow.com, share the show always, pick your streaming platform, like the show, subscribe. It helps the show if you jump in on all of them. Maybe you comment on all of them and we get it out there. We do continue to grow on a daily basis, which is exactly what this show is about if you like what we do. We appreciate you continuing to send us messages about possible stories to cover. We're trying to do that as well. And, we get to that. So your messages don't go unseen or unchecked. Somebody gets it at some point in time, and then we do what we possibly can. Tabitha, what's got your goat this morning? Anything?
What doesn't? There's so much going on. There's so much going on. It never ends. One thing that I woke up to seeing this morning is a big Russia-Ukraine story. Russia absolutely bombarded Ukraine overnight.
Are we surprised?
Completely bombarded them. Not at all. Because we continue to poke the bear.
What do you mean
We
by
continue
we?
to poke the bear.
America?
The United States, NATO, Europe. We continue to poke at Putin. We know what frustrates him. We continue to push his buttons. We continue to send heavy weapons and artillery over to Ukraine. And now we have this whole fiasco, which we'll get into later, with BlackRock, teaming up with Zelensky. I mean, seriously, it's like the government, they don't even care anymore what we think. They don't even care. We all know how corrupt BlackRock is. And now all of a sudden, BlackRock and Volodymyr Zelensky are teaming up. So now we even have more proof that our money, everything we're sending over to Ukraine, it's nothing but corruption.
I think we should start right there. We got some headlines with Elon Musk. We got headlines with other airlines jumping in, offering deals, so to speak. Now is the time to get those airplane tickets. I was looking at some of the things yesterday. There are some opportunities there. Luggage is all over the place.
Oh my gosh, I saw those photos.
Warehouses are being rented.
It shouldn't be this difficult, Vic. Why don't they color coordinate? Hey, if you have a pink suitcase, step over here to aisle 5, blue, aisle 6. They're just, all these suitcases are just in a big mess.
It is a so there's tons to get to. You just talked about that. I want to start. Let's start with the Zelensky. Is that all right if we start with Zelensky this morning?
Sure.
If you don't realize who BlackRock is, and we've talked about BlackRock on this show several times, we've even had other people come in and talk about this international company. Do you realize that they control over $1 trillion of investments worldwide?
Yes.
Number one, they're the most popular. They're the most powerful. What the hell is BlackRock doing? And their CEO now getting involved with Ukraine and the investing of Ukrainian money, American money.
Yeah, American money. That's your tax dollars. They're investing with BlackRock.
And do you really, seriously, question what I was like, what can we do? Because on this show, we're people of action. We like to try to get out there and do things.
We can't do a darn thing.
There's not a damn thing that can be done except trying to get at your political leaders to stop sending money. Now, if a Republican was in office, would we be sending this much money to Ukraine?
No.
I very seriously doubt
Depending
it.
on which Republican, but no.
That's a great point. But I don't know if it resonates in America or with you, the listeners.
Most people probably, Vic, they probably don't know. They probably won't know.
Study BlackRock. Study BlackRock. Fink lost, who's the CEO of this company, lost hundreds of millions of dollars in the 80s, then created a company and they hit it big. And now they are involved in everyday life for you, even if you're trying to rent homes.
I'm so glad you brought that up because they fund, there are wealthy people across the country, the top 1% who give all of this money to BlackRock to invest. They give them billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And then what BlackRock does is they take those hundreds of billions of dollars and they give it to smaller real estate companies, not like a Coldwell Banker or that type of real estate company, but they're going to give it to, let's say, Keystone. You see Keystone out there a lot of these other companies. And then what these companies do is they're in your neighborhood. And trust me, if you live in Missouri, they are definitely in your neighborhood. And what these companies are doing, and this is BlackRock's money, they're taking this money and they're buying every house in your neighborhood. And then they're taking those homes and they're sticking them on the rental market for months at a time, collecting $100 sometimes a pop, getting these rental application fees from every person in a household. And then they're just sitting on the house. They make more money on these rental application fees than they do renting the house out. Then eventually they will rent the house out, but they will never allow that house back on the market for a homeowner because the BlackRock is part of the whole socialist agenda. They don't want anyone to own a home. They want everyone to rent. And a lot of these homes turn into Section 8 housing.
It's very concerning. And not only from that standpoint, but when you talk about BlackRock, did you know that BlackRock, they profit from war, conflict in Syria? Literally, if you check the books, money in Syria, Yemen, Iraq, Afghanistan, and they fuel global crises, as we've seen when it comes to refugees. The weapons companies, private prisons, asset management firms like BlackRock, they gain a profit from war and migration.
Yes, they do.
And when that happens and you're controlling over $1 trillion of money worldwide, do you not think that they're going to have power? What happens, where money goes, what's being done in society, their power over things that happen? If conflict means they make money, what do you think we're going to get more of?
Absolutely so.
Conflict.
And it's all a big money laundering sham.
It just
all of
scares
it.
the S hit out of me.
Well, the thing that I'm reading here, Vic, says 10 trillion
Yeah, there you
in
go.
assets.
I mean, unbelievable.
They're one of the, if not the wealthiest company in the entire world. And they do nothing but promote socialism. All of their agenda, all promote socialism. Like Vic just said, they make money off of war. Now we have a situation where we're taking our US dollars, your tax dollars, we're sending this all over to Ukraine. Then we have a Zelensky, of course, the president puppet of Ukraine, now teaming up with BlackRock
That scared
to
the hell out of me
invest
when I saw that.
the money that we send over there. It is a real problem, and it goes to show the government does not care. They know that most of us understand what BlackRock is doing, and they don't care.
That's the other problem with this whole situation is the fact that, Scott, you just brought up $10 trillion.
10 trillion is what it says on Wikipedia.
Once again, the average American citizen is clueless to who BlackRock is or how they affect their daily life. That's what this show's about. We just try to be one step ahead. We try to put the information out. People can say, oh, you guys are just saying whatever to blah, 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 blah. No, this is serious stuff, especially look at that. Zelensky. I need money. I need war systems. I need all this for a war that's never going to end. The American economy has donated over $1 trillion to Ukraine in weapons and money. And now BlackRock is going to invest money for Ukraine. Come on. Come on. So with that being said, what can you do? Maybe nothing.
Nothing. We can't do anything. You know, we had our opportunity already this past election season. We had our opportunity. We did not come out in a red wave. We definitely did not do that. We are too complacent.
But a red wave wouldn't have stopped.
Yes,
It wouldn't have
it would
stopped
have
what's
led.
going on.
It would have led to eventually it would have. We have to start putting the right people in the right places.
Yeah, because Biden and the handlers are still giving the money.
Absolutely.
Because there is a plan. There is absolutely no doubt there is some sort of plan that's going on.
And the only way this is going to stop, remember back when Obama was president, he was sending money and funding. This is the craziest thing. He was actually equipping, training, funding with our cash money, terror groups in Syria to allegedly fight ISIS, but it was all a lie. What they were really doing is trying to oust Assad. And so that only stopped when President Trump was elected. That was one of the very first things he did was he stopped that program. It was a failed program. As a matter of fact, our country spent $500 billion training terrorists in Syria to oust the country's president. And what we're doing right now in the Ukraine, sending all this money over there, it is just as catastrophic as a plan, except for that it's $1 trillion we're sending.
The fact that BlackRock's involved, keep your eyes open on that. Just study what you can. Look at where you're going. I mean, there may not be a lot that you can do. We have a question from the Facebook line. Can local leaders do anything? No. Local leaders get elected by you, but local leaders need a whole lot of money to even run for office so that their name is known. And of course, as we know, when you get money from people, you answer to people. And people who have money usually fall under major groups like BlackRock or other ones where you have to send, oh, really? Remember the $100,000 we gave you? Remember the $500,000 we gave you? Yeah, well, it's time to pay the piper. It's time to pay our special interest. It's time to take care of us because we got you elected.
Maybe it's time to stop paying taxes. How about that? When 73 cents of every dollar of American dollars goes towards paying taxes, maybe it's time to quit paying taxes because you know what? All of this money that they're sending to Ukraine, that's how they're getting it. It's our tax dollars. Every day you go to work and you're working hard to support your family, 73 cents of every dollar you make ends up going to taxes.
Well, Eric, I, and Scott would like you to stop paying taxes
and see what happens.
and let us know how it goes. Seriously, and if it works for you, we're going to jump on board as well.
Well, you guys know Representative Missouri State Rep Richard West.
Yes,
well,
I know who he is. Not personally, but I know who he is.
Great guy. He had a proposition, and I thought it was such a good idea. And he said, eventually, of course, you have to pay taxes. It's illegal not to do so. But you cannot pay your taxes until they ask for it. And if every American or every conservative or whoever wants to finally stand up and fight, if they did not, if they just held off paying their taxes until the IRS asked for it, I really do think that the government would wake up a little bit and say, hey, maybe these people are angry. Maybe we need to do something because guess what? If we're not paying our taxes, even if it's just temporarily, they don't have any money to send out. Of course, they'll just print new money.
Well, I know, but we also heard about Ukraine having money laundered, coming back for democratic elections, helping rigged elections. But does the average person know? We don't know. The guy who considers himself just to be an average everyday guy is Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson comes in. Were you familiar with BlackRock?
Yeah. Well,
were you familiar with their $10 trillion in assets?
I know that they're a woke program over there.
I did not know that.
Very woke. They like all these initiatives that are being kind of thrown upon the American people. What makes them scary is the money. What makes them scary is they're putting their money. See, it's like China. China walks into North Africa and they say, we'll build your roads, we'll build your buildings, but we own you. You will be a subsidiary of us. Well, that's what money does. Money is evil. It's corrupt. When they say we can come into Ukraine, but you'll be part of this new world system that we're building. And they do it in the spirit of helping. And if you see some of their commercials, I don't know, have you seen their commercials? They're very community.
They are community.
But it's a big lie.
But then you talk to people in the community and they're like, we need BlackRock out.
Yeah.
Yes, we do need
BlackRock is one of the companies that funds houses being bought up at pennies on the dollar. So Tabitha Hassel can't buy a house or I can't buy a house. And then they rent it out for this exorbitant amount of cash.
And it raises the rental rates and the homeowner rates and the house prices in every neighborhood. And it's all in a big effort to keep you from being able to own a property.
What? And they do it in the spirit of capitalism. And so
they do.
And so the problem is with the BlackRock. And the problem with the BlackRock is it's like, hey, you wanted this capitalistic society. We're participating. We're playing by the rules. But they go in with all of this money. And when you have money and you're dangling it over desperate people's heads, they're in control. And so they're kind of like this new huge version of George Soros. And it's like it's impossible to escape.
They're invincible because they have so much money and so much backing behind them. It is. And I know people who work in real estate agents, and I asked them, is this true? And they said, absolutely, it's true that these companies, not necessarily BlackRock, but companies funded by BlackRock, because BlackRock funds a lot of real estate companies. Again, not your Coldwell Banker, not that type of real estate company, but these rental agencies. And if you put your house on the market, they will outbid every single person. They'll pay 20% over. They'll pay cash. They'll do anything it takes to get your home.
Well, Kathy Helbig of Kathy Helbig Realty is a sponsor of the show. So
that's right.
When they get back from vacation, her husband, Steve, the mortgage guy, she's going to be in studio. She's going to be a regular guest on the show.
Can't wait.
And she knows all about that situation. And she speaks pretty directly to it as well.
She does. And I know she understands it. I think all real estate agents, especially here in St. Louis, it's so prevalent. That's something what we really need to do is talk to our Missouri Attorney General, because that is how you stop it. If you want to stop it in your state, your Attorney General can take these companies and they can say no more.
Yeah. And it's they're like a big asset vacuum cleaner. It's not just houses, it's businesses, it's student loans, it's all over the place. And when you have a company that's a finance company that's this big with an agenda, and there's your word right there. Imagine Bank of America with all the assets on the planet at one time. What if they had an agenda and they wanted to throw, all of this weird learning in our schools, the transgender agenda, the liberal agenda, the one world order agenda? What if you found out that Bank of America was doing that stuff? Wouldn't you pull your money quickly and not want to participate in that?
And you know
stuff?
what? A lot of the companies are doing that, but you have to go read about what they're doing. You have to go look, because you won't find out unless you go look.
Well, look at Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is being sued right now. I don't know if you guys know this, a class action lawsuit. Because remember back when the real estate bubble kind of collapsed back, I think it was 2008, 2009, people are suing them because they took action and foreclosed on homes when they should not have.
Yeah.
But they did it. They took advantage of vulnerable people, and now they're being sued. You cannot trust the banks. I don't trust any bank. I trust them just about as much as I trust the medical community.
Interesting. We're asked about Berkshire Hathaway. Are they funded? Are they funded by one of these companies?
That's Bill Gates and Buffett's company. I don't know if they're funded by BlackRock.
That's just as bad in some ways.
I think it's maybe I know that Buffett and Gates fund BlackRock, so there is a connection, but I don't know if BlackRock funds them or they fund them.
Yeah.
It kind of, I think that Gates and them fund BlackRock. I don't think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
And Tabitha, people are like, if you stop paying your taxes, you may have some issues.
I'm going to have Richard West come in and talk about this, because I'll tell you what, Richard explains it so well, way better than I can.
Understand something,
and what
though.
he
Don't say that.
And it's not illegal. It's not illegal.
What you say is not good, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Capone, they couldn't get him on racketeering charges. They couldn't get him on murder charges. But man, I'll tell you what, as soon as they wanted to put him in Alcatraz, they went right after his taxes. So if you mess around with the IRS,
you're misunderstanding. What I just said, it's not illegal what he proposed. I'm just not explaining it correctly.
It is highly illegal. Don't listen to Tabitha.
Are you a tax professional?
I am not a tax professional.
But are you a Missouri state rep like Richard West?
But if anybody is getting into your emails covertly, or anybody is trying to get into your background, and especially with the right-wing rhetoric that we espouse on this show, I would be highly worried about not paying my tax.
Can we get in contact with him today?
Well, that's why we need to have him explain it.
Exactly.
He's explained it to me
and you're going to take him
times.
to court. You're going to take him into a courtroom with you and say, "I got this guy on my side."
No, you're just not understanding tax law. If you don't, like right now, it's time to pay taxes, right? Coming up. Right. If you don't pay your taxes on that day, you can file for an extension.
Okay.
There are different legal means you can do to not pay your taxes on tax day. That's not illegal. Richard West would never suggest someone break the law. And the way that he discussed it, again, I can't explain it, but the way he explained it is phenomenal. And if everyone did what he said,
that seems like you're messing with a lot of.
It seems like, but yeah. I've heard this argument as well, Eric. I don't know exactly what Richard West said, but we got to have him on, because I knew he was attached to this in some way, but not enough to break it down. However, Robert, who's a listener, he said this before when we had him on the show, and he's saying it again. He's like, what this gets into is become a state national, and then you don't need to pay your income taxes. And there's a formula to become a state national. Now, I first saw this on TikTok, and I was like, okay, this is a farce. Then I see Robert, who I know does study on this day in, day out, and he starts promoting this whole situation of become a state national.
Okay.
For example, when you're born, you automatically get a number.
That's correct.
And that number has to do with these taxes.
Correct.
You get money paid. Well, guess what? If you become a state national, correct me if I'm wrong, Robert, you're supposed to get money back, and you're excluded from paying taxes.
I'm not saying that these guys don't make an exceptional argument on how to cheat the system. I watch TikTok.
It's not cheating the system.
I watch TikTok all the time, Scotty, and I'm like, damn, I could go make $1 million a month just doing side hustles with Amazon. But the reality is that when you try to do it, you screw up all the time.
But it's not cheating the system. It's just delaying paying. It's legally delaying the payment of your taxes.
But if you delay, as Joel says from our comment line, if you owe the government money and you file an extension, guess what? You're going to be charged interest.
Late fee, interest, which are worse than the taxes sometimes.
what's more important, your interest or your freedom?
Tabitha.
Get her that cancel this shot now that she'll be
Good
downing
God.
tonight at Winty's when our party is going
Okay,
on.
there was a time when we were fearless as Americans. Now Eric's over here and Vic's over here, and you guys are all like, "Oh my God, we're going to go to jail if we don't pay our taxes." Didn't we fight a revolution over this once?
Hell yes, Tabitha.
Where has our spine gone? When are we
Okay,
going to
all right, here, let me,
stand
I'm
up
going to explain
and
something
stop
to you.
worrying
No,
about the
you're right.
ridiculous
You're
stuff?
right. You're right. You're right. You're right.
If we
back
have
in
this attitude, we'll never get
1776,
anywhere.
back in 1776, the country did not have 300 million people. The country had maybe, I don't know, a few 100,000 people on the continent. So that was much easier to rally sentiment against the Tea Party, against the king. It was much easier. These days, you're fighting with millennials, Gen Z, and a bunch of lazy ass boomers that do not want to get up and fight against the government because of taxes. And not to mention, a big percentage of those people get money back every year because of their taxes. So that's where the rub is you can't come out and say, that's it, I'm starting a one-person revolution not to pay my taxes. Even if this guy is dead on accurate, you would have to start a pretty big movement to move the IRS off of what they want to do is collect the money from you.
Let's remind everyone.
You're just trying to encourage people to start a movement, right?
There-
I know
there-
you.
And I agree with you. We used to be those.
No, well, we're talking about what can we do, but let's remind everyone who the IRS is. Do we remember when they hired, what was it, 85,000
80,000 agents, and they weren't hired for no reason.
armed agents that have the ability to come to your home, to knock on your door and arrest you. Armed agents. That's who the IRS is these days. The IRS, it's not a bunch of accountants sitting behind computers tapping their little screen.
There's no
These are
doubt.
armed IRS agents the government hired to come after us.
And they went
Never
through the representatives that we elected, and they went through the Senate that we elected, and they finally signed off by the president that we elected. So there's the rub.
So would it be a good time to challenge the system?
Here we go.
Or not?
It's always a good time, because what happens when
Really?
they hire 200 armed agents? Well, we should have acted a long time ago, and we keep delaying, and it keeps getting worse, and they keep finding more ways to keep us down because we keep delaying.
Cindy nailed it.
anything.
Cindy stepped up to the plate on our Facebook line. She waited for her pitch and she put it over the wall. She put, go ahead.
She's right. Cindy is
Go ahead and read
100%
that.
right.
Go ahead and read what Cindy just
Cindy
said.
Giordano, and Cindy would know. People won't even go to city and county meetings and get involved in their own community.
Boom. She
But I
put
think
that
she's
thing into the
talking to
parking lot.
you, Eric.
I don't think she's talking to me.
He's been to a city meeting.
Yeah, I sure have. I've
I
been to
think
two
Eric's
of them.
been to a city council
been to
meeting
two of
since
them.
you've been to one.
Yeah, you're right. And but I do go. Cindy and some other folks, they have these Missouri Freedom Warriors meetings, which I have
go
been
to Barnes and Noble all day long with your book club saying how we can defeat the IRS, but there's only 4 people there. Okay, that's the problem. I agree that there's some very interesting banter in those conversations, but until you get this, okay.
Maybe
we didn't even have a red wave. We had, what did you call it?
A pink. We didn't even have a pink puddle, is what
pink
I said.
puddle is what you just said.
We had
yesterday.
nothing.
Tabitha and her pink puddle.
People sat at
Cancel this
home.
blue shot.
If we would have had 20 new seats in the Senate and they decimated
Maybe.
the amount House of Representatives, I would say, Tabitha, you're onto something. No, you're not. Sorry.
Nothing happened. Nothing.
Nothing.
People don't care. You guys are all 100% correct. People don't care. They sit at home and eat their little bonbons or play with their little dogs and cats, whatever people are doing in their homes. And they don't care. They're not getting out and fighting for this country, and they will not.
Tabitha, Robert
Get
has
out
your back.
and
Robert
fight
says
in
this
this
is this is the perfect time. The government is
Oh, my
broke.
God.
Soon they can't print money. We've talked about that on the show.
Correct.
As reserve currency status is in play.
Now's the time.
Robert thinks now is the time if there was ever going to be something. And of course, we know government would change if they lost even more money. But how do you go about doing it the right way, a legal way to make some sort of a change? All I know,
Forget
Eric,
legal. Take the legal word out. There's
but
nothing we can do that's legal that's going to
you
make
can't
change.
do anything about changing something if you're sitting in jail.
True. That's the truth. So there's where Vic's right. So
do you see the
what-
Iranian revolution that's taking place
Yeah,
in
you're
Iran?
right. We haven't reached that. You're right.
103
Great point.
Days. Those people
Damn,
have
Tabitha.
had enough.
Damn, Tabitha, you're right.
Tabitha, you're right.
She
but
is
that's
100%
different.
right.
It's different. No, okay. She's
How is
right.
that different?
She's right, but wrong. And I'll tell you why. because that battle is being fought with heartstrings, not headstrings.
What?
Yes.
Do you know how many people have died
you
fighting
literally
for their freedom in Iran?
You killed a girl because she wouldn't wear her hijab. That is a heartstring thing. That is they killed one of us because she wouldn't do something social. Okay, that wasn't some.
So you want to wait till we get that far? Is that what you
No,
want?
what I'm
to do?
saying is the human experience works on, it doesn't work like what you're thinking. It doesn't, you can't get people excited not to pay their taxes. You can get people
because
excited,
we're not
but
that far
George
yet.
Floyd, on the other hand, can get people very excited. You killed this young man with his knee on his neck,
That's
and
a
it
lie.
changed an entire society.
That
You
was,
mean-
but that was the
You see
based
what I'm
on a
saying?
lie.
Do you
Yeah,
understand what I'm
sure,
saying?
everything based on a lie.
Now,
But Eric, that's because there was a media push behind it. The
Oh,
That's
no,
right.
like no
behind it.
other media push. Exactly right. But there's also a media push for this young lady in Iran, because now you have a girl that just played in a national chess tournament without her hijab as a protest. Do you know how big of a deal that is?
Yeah, because you
Massive.
know why?
One,
Eric,
and not to mention the
missing the
soccer
whole point.
players in the world. No, am I missing the point, Scotty? Does it sound like I'm missing the point?
You're missing
I think
the point
I'm on your side.
because the people are winning. The people had enough. They rose up against the government, but do you know how many of them had to die
Yeah,
to
winning
get
isn't
where they
easy.
are right now?
I get that.
Winning isn't easy, and what they did was not legal. The people of Iran, the Iranian citizens, what they're doing is not legal.
Mm.
They are killing. They are literally killing Iranian
Right.
agents, the
No.
IRC guard. They're killing them.
Right.
They're doing all sorts of. Yesterday, a guy killed himself. He committed suicide
Yeah.
to bring attention to the movement there. People there, we as Americans, we're not willing to go that far right now. Now, are we going to all be sitting around in black burqas? Women can't drive
Look,
or go to
this is-
school
this
or
is-
work.
yes.
Does it take that for us to get up and do
Tabitha,
something?
Yes.
And
if you want
yes,
this to
it
be a
does.
worldwide movement, look, remember that when it was Saudi Arabia, one of those countries, was taking homosexuals up to the top of buildings and throwing them off the buildings. Do
It's
you
still
remember that?
happening it's still happening
It
right
sure
now.
is.
Still
But for
happening.
some reason that didn't stick. But you got to understand, the heart wants what the heart wants. And if the heart sees this thing and you have hundreds of thousands of people saying, enough, you can't kill our young ladies because they don't wear this piece of fabric on their head just because of Sharia law or whatever it is, then you have found the magic. You
No, see, that's the whole point, Eric. And I agree. No,
What?
I think we agree. We always end up agreeing.
But you understand marketing, PR.
We have to
you
do
understand
something
how
now
these
before it gets to that point.
BlackRock's the same way. We just talked about it. BlackRock, who, in my opinion, in your opinion, is very nefarious. They're doing things behind the scenes that seem a little dark to a lot of us. But
A little.
Tabitha, if you see them run their television commercial, they're part of the community. Look at us. We're
It's propaganda. Our world is full
Exactly.
of propaganda.
And that's what I'm saying is that's how you win these battles. You don't win these battles by going and flailing your arms and in disgust in the streets. You win these battles.
How do you win? Tell me.
Well, you tell me one battle that you won by flailing your arms in the streets.
We just did. We won the battle against the all ages show right here in St. Charles last
That
week.
again, that was with the
A
heartstrings.
small victory.
That
small
was with the
victory.
heartstrings. It was, because think about it. These are these parents that are disgusted, are these people who are like, no, the heartstring doesn't want that kind of production in its community.
We're all
Correct?
kind of on the same page.
Right.
Of
We
course
really
we are. We
There's-
always are.
There's different methods, and that's what we're trying to
Absolutely.
get to and explain. And we've got like 3 or 4 different things intertwining here. One, Zelensky getting, oh my gosh, getting into bed with BlackRock with all of this money that's been given to his country. And if you don't see where there's smoke, there's fire. Think again.
And he's selling his soul, his country's soul to the devil.
As we said on the chat
Yeah.
line, he's associated with Klaus Schwab. Look up Klaus Schwab and what he has with a new world order and comments that he has made.
Mhm.
All this money now Zelensky's in charge of
Yeah.
on a war that's never going to end, and anybody with half a brain can see that.
Correct.
All it is it's basically a fund that's set up to collect as much cash as they can and redistribute it to wherever they want to.
That's right.
The second part of the tax situation, our taxes go to that money, but can you really stop paying taxes? Then Robert says, become a state national and you're free. And Tabitha is like, fight for your freedom.
And
Yeah.
Colonel Joe Adams on the comment line, he says, join the Washington Guard, which is Washington Guard 9, the number 9 at gmail.com.
I like Joel's
That'll solve
idea.
your problem.
But this is interesting too, as I started this business, I started to learn too, if you want to avoid taxes, start an S Corp. set up a trust fund and take profits
Yeah.
through trust.
And there are ways.
Genius.
There are ways.
But
look,
most of us don't understand that. Even intelligent people.
well, maybe we need to.
because you need to be taught how to do these
That's
things.
right. And what Joel just said, it's some of the wealthiest people in the world. That is how they built wealth.
You're right. And there you go. If you have the rules of the game and you want wealth, if that's part of your makeup, if you want wealth, you can get it. And you're right. Donald Trump did go 2 years without paying taxes. Guess what? And he said it on the debate stage. You
He
remember
used
that?
this with Hillary.
Yeah, he's like, you guys made the rules. I
Your
just played by
corrupt
'em."
friends are the ones who had a chance to stop it.
It's so true.
We'll
And
find
you
out.
didn't. So you
Yes.
get mad at me for utilizing something that's legal. But of course, Hillary.
Correct.
Yeah, of course. But
We'll
Hillary
find
was
out
destroyed on
tomorrow,
the debate
Because
stage.
tomorrow his tax records are going to be released
I
publicly.
can't wait. I think it sucks that our representatives did this, but I can't wait because it's going to be a nothing burger. And 6 years of worrying about Donald Trump's taxes is going to come to an end.
I was curious what everyone thought what they were going to see.
Well,
They're going to see a bunch of write-offs.
Yeah, yeah.
Is exactly what they're going to see.
well, there's another reason. Did you notice the day, as I've always told you, it's 24 years in local media and knowing what happens. Did you notice that it's being released on a Friday?
Mhm.
Exactly.
Once
Mhm.
again,
Boom.
it's the Friday news dump.
so true.
It may be in the AM, but usually those things are released in the
At
PM.
midnight.
Yeah. So that you really don't pay attention.
Exactly.
And who decided that it had to be on that day? I don't know.
Wouldn't that be Nancy Pelosi?
But usually the people that do this, they know it. It's media 101. Let's do it on a
Exactly.
Friday. People forget. It's not a big deal.
Yep.
There's another news cycle that comes through the next 48 hours and people will forget.
Yep.
Kind of like the situation that kind of intertwines with this because we brought up President Trump. If you haven't noticed yet, the J6 January 6th special, or as former President Trump calls it, unselect committee, has now stated, President Trump or former President Trump, we don't need your subpoena anymore to come and
What's
testify.
that all about?
They waited too long.
It's a joke. This committee has been 100% on a witch hunt from the get-go.
Mhm.
We've talked about it here.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, like Trump, don't like him. This was a bunch of BS from the start. It's still a bunch of BS. It's not a bipartisan committee. It's a partisan committee. It has been from the get-go. And if they really had any intentions of really going after or thought that they had something to go after
Keep reaching.
Donald Trump on, they would have had him in
Yes.
front of that media spectacle. But you know why this was stopped? It's because the former president sued them.
Yeah.
He used the law. They drug it out as long as they could. And now it's time to end the charade.
Preach.
That's what's happened. He will not be subpoenaed. I don't care. They may try to trump up the charges, no pun intended, as they always have tried,
Preach.
going back to the Russia hoax, but nothing will stick.
No.
Let's keep this in the media. Let's try to destroy this man because it's all about politics. That's
Yeah.
what it's always been about. So educate yourself on it. It's a joke. The J6 committee is an absolute joke. Yes, you guys are a joke, led by Nancy Pelosi, who's on her way out the door.
Illegal.
And some would argue illegal. I won't go there yet because it's still going on,
Oh, they'll find out.
but it's going nowhere.
Yeah, they'll find out.
100% nowhere. And then, of course, Tabitha, I'll give you your chance to say it. What happened to the people who rushed the Capitol, still sitting in jail?
Oh, yeah. You mean the seditionists?
And
The folks they termed seditionists that they think committed some type of act of sedition and insurrection, which is all fake, false, sitting in prison without due process
Yeah.
as Americans.
That's pretty disgusting.
Unbelievable.
That is. You can let off this Sam Bankman-Fried with a $250 million bail, but basically
that's
he
one of
did-
the worst things.
So
Yes.
there's your coordinated effort right there. That's where it gets disgusting. You got a guy that's dressed up like a damn buffalo in his jail cell forever, except I guess he's off now, but he's still in jail. But then you have this Sam Bankman-Fried who basically took the life savings of thousands of people, and he gets to go play in a nice mansion in California until his trial comes up, in which will be a complete ridiculous sham.
This may sound crazy to you, but I talked to somebody who knows people. I know, just trust me on this. He did not pay that money. It was funded by a massive group.
What?
I'm not saying it's BlackRock.
It might
but
be.
a massive group who was in the start of this from the get-go. This
Oh my
wasn't just
God.
one rogue guy doing
Oh,
this.
of course not. Of course not.
That he didn't pay it, that it was paid for him, and they don't know what happens next. And by the way, Drew, I'm not wrong in regards. I didn't say.
Yeah, if you have a $250 million bail on paper, Scotty, am I wrong in saying this? It's a $25 million bail bonds. You have to pay 10% of it, right?
Correct. That's
Isn't
what
that
I-
correct?
Correct.
Yeah,
10%.
as far as I know, yes.
So it's a $25 million nut that you're on the hook for $250 million to keep your ass out of jail.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Call BlackRock.
No, I
Call
get it.
BlackRock.
It is.
Um,
It's more money
BlackRock bail
laundering.
bonds.
Hey, Drew, here's where you're wrong. You told me I was wrong. I didn't say he wouldn't be charged or indicted. I said he will not be convicted. This is an absolute joke. And Drew, if you follow this, your opinion, it says a lot about you because
does,
your
Drew.
hate for a man
Yeah.
instead of looking at facts. It's sad. You're not alone.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people like you who hate somebody and have so much hate in their heart for a man that it blocks your ability to see truth in what is legal and what isn't, and so wanting to take this man down. Drew, you will be standing there as you have been so many times going, okay, well, I'm just going to move on to the next subject because I was
Exactly.
wrong. So I just wanted to call you out, and I love your opinion and it's welcome, but you're wrong.
Yeah. It would be the same. It's hypocritical because it'd be the same if the Koch brothers, who funded every Republican on the planet for many years, if they were investigated and then finally put in jail, Drew would be here going, you got to throw the key away. Koch brothers, man. And that's the problem is the Sam Bank, what's his,
Freed Bankman.
he funded every Democrat on the planet.
I was just going to say
He knows
yes,
where
he
all
did.
the skeletons are buried. He knows where all the skeletons are in the closets of the Democrats. I mean, basically the ship is starting to unravel for the Democrats a little bit. You have all of this Elon Musk stuff with Twitter. You have all of this funding through Sam Bankman-Fried. You have the Democrats. You have the House of Representatives in a few days here going to start investigation after investigation after investigation, and we're all going to agree it probably won't go anywhere. But the narrative,
Is the media going to cover it?
right?
Probably
But the
not.
narrative.
We will.
And I think that you would have a lot of right-wing conservative publications covering it. But I think the narrative is going to change. There is going to be a change in the way people feel about Fauci. There is going to be a change in the way people understand the Hunter Biden and the Joe Biden situation. There is going to be a change in the way that this country sees immigration. It is, because the House of Representatives will be talking about that more.
They
So-
will?
Yes,
We
they
hope so.
will, Tabitha.
And
What
by
do you
the
think
way-
they're going to be doing? Why do you think that?
Sitting on their hands
why
like
do you-
they've been
why
doing
do you think-
for the past, I don't know how many years.
Hey, and by the way,
Not doing a darn
in a lighter
thing.
note, that's Scotty Gherkin on the video, so people can see it taking care
Working
of a
on
shot.
my camera.
Just in case if you saw a guy pop into the scene, you're like, who the hell is standing next to Tabitha? So don't mind her, man. That's Scott who takes care of stuff. He'll be putting his own camera up very soon. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know what was going on with that. Eric, I'm with you.
I just think it's a narrative thing.
I do think that the narrative will change. I just don't know
Who's
if
going
it's
to cover the
going to make
narrative?
a difference. Well,
you
People
got
already,
I
Eric,
have
people
hope, and I'll tell
already
you
care
why.
about these things. People already care about these things. The problem is the news won't cover it. So they make it seem like no one cares. But the folks sitting in Congress, they do not
think it's-
care. They
I-
don't care.
I think it's
They're going to do nothing.
I think you have to be a super over the top connoisseur of the news, which I am. I'm the kind of guy that looks at news as red wine. Does it have legs? What's the smell? Is the smell that of a woodiness, or is it more of a greatness? I
But where
look
are
at
you getting your news?
I look at what we're doing in news in the last 5 years.
What news?
CNN was a big deal 5 years ago. It was, whether you like to think so or not. Now it's going tits up. CNN, which was a purveyor of this propaganda
Tits up.
of this propaganda that we speak of, is no more. Twitter has been turned upside down on its head by a guy named Elon Musk. MSNBC has no audience whatsoever. ABC, NBC, and CBS, they are flailing.
The national news is flailing.
They
and
are flailing. You have Greg Gutfeld, who is the #1 nighttime show over all of the liberals. So there's something going on in the world right now.
100% there is.
Yeah. And something is going
But-
on right now. And now you have the House of Representatives who are going to bring to the forefront, whether you watch it or not, Tabitha, are going to bring to the forefront this laptop. They're going to start.
No,
to put,
they're not. I'm sorry, Eric, but
No,
they're not.
What's your point?
Why
on that?
would you say no?
My
They're not.
point is that they are going to do nothing. I mean, they've never done it. It's not like it's new people, or I mean, there's a couple new people. It's not like
I
anything
think we need
has
a bet.
changed.
I think we need a bet, Vic.
What has changed between
Vic, I
now
think we
and
need a
last
bet.
year? I would like to know what's changed between now and last year, because they sure didn't do a darn thing about it when the story came out.
Who was running the House last year? Do you know the answer to this question? Who was running the House last year?
None of it makes
Who
a
was-
difference.
Who was running the committees last year?
It doesn't make a difference. They're all
Who
on the
was
same,
running the committees
They're
last
all
year?
on the same side. It doesn't make a difference. There might be one or two or three that actually care about
So you
these
think
issues.
Jim Jordan is like Nancy Pelosi? Is that what you're telling me?
I think he's not going to do a darn thing, is what I think. I don't think any of them are going to do anything.
Drew says, exactly, all show and nothing's going to happen. Matthew Hicks brings up a great point. Matthew, thank you, because this is how I feel in a lot of these situations. Most people don't consume news like all of us do here. They hear it while they're out.
That's true. That's true.
Who plays in TVs and lobbies. They get it from The View. I don't even want to say that now. They can't be bothered to question the veracity. Hell, they can't even spell veracity.
Yeah.
And it's true. However, Tabitha, I do think, and here's what gave me hope. They may not be covering it, but more people are starting to wake up than there were 5 years ago.
No question about
There is
it.
absolutely. I never thought we would get to the point where we are now, where there are people seeking truth. There are people going, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. I started to see it because when I was in local news, guess what? When I was in local news, lost a lot of viewership. And when I say a lot, a significant amount where you started to see it in viewership and ratings and numbers of people watching, no matter who they were watching. The first thing that happened was this. People went away with the 2022 election. There were so many people who were disenfranchised by what they saw, not feeling that there were equal coverage giving to the candidates, that it was negative towards Donald Trump, because I'd hear about it everywhere I was. We had people in our newsroom go, why are people angry at us and saying that we're not being fair?
No way. That cannot be true.
It happened multiple times with people
Wow.
because of how you were raised and the people you hang out with. I've talked about this. The second thing that happened was the COVID situation. When the pandemic hit, people were like, wait a second. Now, there are people who loved it, as we saw in St. Louis County. They loved their coverage. But a vast majority of people started to go, wait, what the hell?
Right.
Are you kidding me? In the state of Missouri, at least. This is not right. Why aren't we hearing another side? They became disenfranchised. So I do think some things have happened where people start to question, go, wait a second. And then we're going to find out what it's like when next Wednesday, we have a 21-year-old. He hosts a podcast.
I can't wait.
From Ole Miss. He does a conservative podcast. He's going to join us live in studio. He's going to hook us up with the guy. Wait till we introduce you to Sully out of LA, a young guy, another conservative podcast, to find out what the younger generation thinks, if they care, if they get frustrated by forced health situations, about what people are really thinking.
Okay.
I mean, these things are happening.
This is a whole new show that we got to think about. I want somebody to write this down. On MS,
I'm writing.
All right,
I'm
on
writing.
MSNBC right now. So if you look at, let's just say that everybody that listens to Cancel This is connoisseurs.
But before you say this, you're not going to like promote other people.
I'm not.
Okay.
Let's say we're all connoisseurs of news. Let's say that everyone that's listening to this show right now is a connoisseur. You guys are the ones that you guys spin the glass around. You understand how old the wine might be, whether it's a red wine, a Merlot, a Moscato, or whatever it is. We are all connoisseurs of news on this show listening right now. A lot of people out there, Tabitha, if they get a wine, they go to Red Robin and they say, yeah, just bring me the house, whatever. And they go red or white. And they go, whatever. They don't know wine. They just know they like how it tastes, right? Let's go to MSNBC right now. And let's find out what their headlines are right now.
Are they still on?
Oh, this is big news for liberals. I tell you what, this is where Drew goes to get his news every day. Let's go see what the main headline
Eric,
is, Tabitha.
every single
Number
thing
one
you're saying is exactly what the problem is.
Number one. Hold on. Who is George Santos, by the way? Oh, he's the guy that basically lied. And he's a Republican, right?
Yeah, he's a Republican.
Number one story. George Santos false claims about being Jewish. Tell us about the Jewish right. Okay, that's number one. The number two headline, the best safeguard against another Trump victory is one we're not talking about. Number two, that's their second headline. All right, here's one. It's all about Jamie Raskin today. Jamie Raskin addresses his cancer diagnosis. It's a shame, Democratic representative. He has stage 4 cancer. That sucks for sure. Here's another headline. Black women have been warning about the dangers of a 2023 We Must Listen. What the hell does that mean? It's a race baiting thing. Now let's go to Fox News, a more conservative outlet. Number one headline. This changes everything. Elon Musk sparks strong reaction after he announces new Twitter policy on scientific data.
Which was amazing, by the way.
It's a fantastic story. It's a real story. It seems like there's the challenge right there. But
the challenge is to turn all of that off and don't read any of that ever. Turn it off. Don't ever read any of those.
Number two story on Fox News, no longer obligated. January 6th special committee, which we just talked about, withdraws its subpoena from Trump. Let's see how PayPal bans could threaten more than free speech. So PayPal is another one of those woke companies. Obviously.
They are 100%. They are.
Now you're starting to see where to get your news from.
PayPal, by the way, that's a story for another day. They don't that little law they came up with has zilch to do with free speech.
Right. But it's important because I think in the next few years, like we're talking about here, the tide feels like it's changing. I don't know. I don't have any tangible proof, but it seems like in the next 24 months, you're going to start to see a lot more of this conservative sentiment come out. And I think people will gravitate towards it.
From the same organizations, Eric. You're going to get the same news that you've gotten. I'll believe it when I see it, when CNN actually changes and really tries to be down the middle or like Fox News. I'll believe it when I see it. But what's interesting, we're going to take a break so people can get their drinks, go do whatever they need to do. We're going to come back in just a few minutes. Be sure to come back because we've got to get into what Eric leads into this with Elon Musk. Another drop yesterday, which he's like, oh yeah, here is our status moving forward, which I think plays into what Eric's saying. Who would have ever thought in a million years that Twitter would now say, oh no, we're going to question any sort of skeptical health information.
That's right. He said, follow the science. What do you do?
When you follow baby, we're going to follow the science.
Remember in high school when you talked about science, the first thing was, what's your hypothesis? Remember that? When you go to science class and the first word you learn was a hypothesis.
Before we go to break, I have to say this because we're going to move to a different topic and I didn't get an opportunity to say
Jump in, girl.
Turn your news off. Turn your TV off. Do not read CNN. Do not read Fox National. Do not read MSNBC. Turn it all off. All of it.
Why not read Fox
If you're
National?
Reading all of that stuff, you're just reading.
Why not read
because
Fox
National is just the flip side of the same coin. Turn it all off.
It seems like your
it's
flip
all
side.
Paid programming.
Is it all the Matrix, Tabitha?
All paid programming. Just turn it off. All state-ran media. They're giving you the illusion of choice by giving you a conservative outlet.
Well, where do we go then?
Here. Do your own research. Come here. We do the research for people.
There you go. Here. Scotty. Meet you here every morning. I would go to Scotty. Scotty knows more than all of us put together.
You can get more of Eric tonight at our party. By the way, the Winty's party. Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley, 7 to close. Drop on by, see us. I know there's some people out of town that wish they could be there that can't be, but if you're in town, come by. We'll have a good time. Let's cancel this. Share the show. Continue to share the show. Show continues to grow on a daily basis. We appreciate you guys for that. Show's about you. Let us know. Canceltheshow.com. Pick your streaming platform. Continue to jump in. When we come back, we'll talk about what's going on with Elon. What's going to happen now with the Dr. Fauci's of the world. And with that being said, too, you're not going to want to miss Dr. Joel Kahn tomorrow, a cardiologist with like 100,000 followers who was canceled a few years ago for calling out Dr. Fauci and other health professionals who refused to talk, in his opinion, on the truth about COVID, the truth about vaccines, and how to truly stay healthy and live a healthy lifestyle.
And it's Free for All Friday, and we're going to have the Weedium.
The Weedium at 9, Dr. Joel at 8. We are packed. People continue to call us to want to be on the show. We're grateful for it. It's all because of you guys. Cancel This is rocking and rolling. Back with more right after this. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. It's Cancel This. 8:12 is our time. It is Thursday, December 29th. Took a little bit more of a break. I love it because we're real, we're raw. We just kind of throw it out there. You'll see Scott working on Tabitha, I'm sorry your camera's gone down, the shot, whatever
all
it
right.
is. We think you look beautiful. We're going to make it best as we can. So you'll see Scotty popping in and out with her shot. Eric Johnson's here. Tabitha Hassel and Vic Faust. You just saw Scott Gherkin in the shot, working on the shot there. Go to canceltheshow.com. The parties tonight, our kickoff party, Wenty's. It's in the Chesterfield Valley. If you're not in the St. Louis area, we're sorry. We'll have a videographer there taking pictures, shooting videos. We'll have a video that we'll show as well. You'll be there in spirit.
In spirit.
A lot of people are, speaking of spirits, there is a there's a Cancel the Shot that they put together tonight. It's a blue shot. I tried it out last night. It's not too bad.
What's the blue stuff? What is the
Curacao, blue curacao.
Okay, there you go.
Am I saying that right? Blue
Yes,
curacao?
it is the only way to make a drink blue that I'm aware of.
It'll make any drink blue.
And then the drink will make you blue.
Yeah, maybe. Tonight at 7 to close. Stop on by, say hi. We'll talk. We'll have a good time. Appreciate it. Leading you into the new year. By the way, you can check out all of our original content. Just continue to check out the shows. It is original content. Day after day, more and more people are watching. It's because of you. You're sharing the show. Don't think for a second that your share can't make a difference. Kind of like a vote, right? Just like a vote. You do make a difference, but even more so by sharing the show, no matter where you are, especially on YouTube. Subscribe, like what you can, comment there as well. With that being said, we appreciate you're here with us. We were going to break talking about how things may change. Elon Musk has completely thrown everything in an upheaval when it comes to media coverage, when it comes to what's going on. Just a short time ago, we're like, what the hell is going on with Twitter? They're canceling everybody. You can't say anything. We had New York Times reporters being canceled, doctors who just said, hey, there's another side to this whole pandemic thing and how we handle it. And now Elon comes out. He's got people happy and he's got people pissed off, as is life with stories that come out. Elon says that Twitter, for now on, quote, will follow the science. They're going to promote questioning.
Yeah.
This guy is a genius. And if it's not him, his media team is a genius because everything this guy says and puts out, it's like spot on. It's a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10.
No question.
If you're tired of the old way things were done, you will listen to us. You will take our media. You cannot question anything and you will be canceled if you do question us. Not anymore. He says that they're going to promote a, quote, reasoned skepticism of scientific data. Thank you, Elon. It's about time.
Yeah.
There is hope. There is hope, which gets back to what I thought Eric was talking about in our first segment as we were going to our break.
It's the truth. What do they say? It's most musicians are just frustrated critics. And I think that
I've never heard that. I like that.
Most successful musicians, if you're not a successful musician, you're just a critic. You're just criticizing. That's all you're doing. You're just on the side. You're in the peanut gallery. And I think that one of the things is that if we, like Tabitha brought up, I don't know when the day is going to come when we're able to say the I word,
I would love to know when that day is going to
the
come.
horse paste word.
We should be able to. That
because that was a scientific discussion that a lot of people tried to throw into the mix, and we're
saved
canceled
millions
for
of
it.
lives, and we can't
Yeah.
even say the word.
And one reason why there's one guy, and I guess I won't bring up his name, that is kind of a hero to a lot of dudes, is because he went on his little podcast and he said, "Look, I tried this stuff. I tried everything." And the stuff that helped me was the I word and zinc and something else.
Vitamin D. And
he goes, he goes, and lo and behold, I got better. And he was canceled. And I even think he even apologized for it. He kind of had to go and eat crow a little bit to get back into good graces with people.
we were
Do you remember
canceled.
that?
Well, we were canceled on the war on COVID far before he ever even said the I word.
Yeah, we were.
They deleted our show off of Facebook.
That's our claim to fame.
we had strikes against us on other platforms. It's so, things are so bad right now when it comes to censorship that we cannot, not only can we not say the I word, we can't even say the name of a
Okay.
platform or they'll take us down.
But at the same point in time, while we do deal with some of those things, we're also at a point now where you won't be censored on Twitter. So keep in mind for that. You can say what you want there because Elon has taken control of it.
to some degree.
And it's not just that. It's just not COVID. It's climate change. It's climate change. It's how destructive a transgendered child being, basically trans into in a different sex. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we can talk about now on his platform that have the right to have a conversation.
100%. Musk also says, quote, the science is anything that His Eminence, Lord Fauci, says it is. That's
Exactly.
actually
He is
Saad said
pissed
it.
at Fauci, man. Woo.
He says, quote, anyone who says that, think about this. This is so profound. Gosh, I felt like I was living a nightmare for 2 years in newsrooms trying to say, there's another side to the story. Anyone who says that questioning them is questioning science itself cannot be regarded as a scientist.
Exactly.
Because you should be able to question the science all the time, every day, up and down, because the truth will set you free.
Is there
Is
there anything out there that's truly settled science? Is there anything? Is there anything that you can't approve upon? Can you approve on pasteurization? Can you improve on optics so that you can see farther into the universe? I mean, is there anything out there right now?
Well, all science is questioned by someone. You have
your peers. They always say about your peers. It's peer reviewed, right?
Well, you have one group of scientists who have one opinion. You have another group of scientists who have a different opinion. And that's the good thing about science, is that there are always opposing views. And the answer is usually somewhere in the middle.
Well, same thing with global warming. Oh, that's right. Global warming wasn't happening, so they had to change it to climate change. Same thing with climate change. There's scientists on both sides of the aisle, but national media, and for so many years, all you hear is one side.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's changing.
Our old friend Dave Murray on this show, who might be considered one of the best top meteorologists in the country. You could definitely make a case that he's one of the number one meteorologists in the country.
No doubt.
Nobody's
been able to fill his shoes, at least in the St. Louis area.
No way. He's seen it all. And he basically came on this show and said, I don't know what the other scientists are saying. I don't subscribe to this climate change theory. I see cycles. It's cyclical.
But he also said there were thousands of scientists like him.
Yeah. But they're suppressed. They're suppressed. Well, what if a part of Twitter is the Meteorological Society coming on here, right? And saying, I don't subscribe to this, and you're destroying our way of life by saying that we have climate change. If you think that I've heard from so many scientists, quote unquote, that say, if you think that you have to be really into yourself to think that human beings have this much power over the planet Earth. Planet Earth looks at us like, what are you, like we're ants. Okay. That there's no way that we're going to be able to. Now we should keep the planet clean as we can, but
pollution and climate change are completely different topics. And unfortunately, they lump them together and they say, oh, you don't care about climate change and you don't care about the planet. And there's no question. Look what we're doing to our beautiful world. We're killing our bees. People don't seem to understand, if we don't have bees, guess what? We don't live. You have to save the bees. There are important issues out there, but that has nothing to do with climate change.
I need to have it the Hassel sing. We have to save the bees.
We do. We have to save.
That's going to be my new ringtone.
It should be our number one priority.
Eric, I know it sounds funny, but I'm telling you, I believe Tabitha is so right.
I do too.
Because of what their role is.
Yeah.
Pollination.
And our pollination of our environment. The less bees we have, the worse we are.
You know, it's funny.
Good luck finding a bee these days, because I'll tell you what, there aren't many. You know why? Because Americans care too much about having a pretty green lawn, and we want all of our crops to grow with pesticides. We don't want them to look funny. It's ridiculous. We are killing our planet over the most ridiculous things.
Those murder hornets are kind of cool, aren't they?
I don't even know if I would recognize a murder hornet.
Somebody said one time, he goes, you really have nothing. The carbon that comes out of a car is much less dangerous than the methane gas that comes out of the earth, regardless of where that methane gas comes from. They say that's way more important.
It's all about the messaging, my friend. Yeah. We already know this. When groups take over messages, and they're paid, bought, and sponsored by certain groups that want to get a message out, here it comes, and you're going to deal with it. Or if it sides with the political party, you're going to hear it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And there's not much you can do about it.
Yeah.
You grin and bear it.
Is Elon Musk a hero?
Well,
I have to say yes.
To those on the right, to those who had a problem getting their speech out.
No, not to
those
on the left also.
The left does not see Elon Musk as a hero.
I think that I think over time
we know one guy that listens to our show that will show himself publicly as a liberal Democrat. And we appreciate him for doing that. Is Drew. Drew rips him all the time. He can't stand him because he has changed the way he has balanced the media messaging between two parties.
Yeah. And here's another thing I want to come back to Elon on. And the fact that they couldn't get news out and it was suppressed at the Twitter door, the threshold of Twitter.
No doubt.
Now you're going to have this medium where the House of Representatives, these committees will be able to filter into Twitter. It will make its way into the ethos of our conversations. That's why I asked the question, is Elon Musk a hero? Is he a hero?
I think so.
I have to say he is.
I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying he's a conservative. I'm not saying he's a Republican. I'm not saying a lot of different things, but he is a hero.
I think he's a stone cold gangster
for going into Twitter, he's literally risking his life.
He doesn't care about anything. It seems like it's like he
cares about truth.
It's his car company is kind of going a little bit downhill a little bit, and he does not care. He goes, what are you going to do?
He cares.
No, he cares, but guess what? That was done intentionally to him, Eric. And I think it was done intentionally because of what he's doing with Twitter. We talked about BlackRock in the first segment, and this really pisses me off because if you do something, it's a sense of canceling. Elon comes out. He's doing what he's doing at Twitter. That man is a genius. He knows how to balance time.
Yeah.
He would never have gotten to where he is. It's not because he's, quote, spending too much time with Twitter.
Yeah.
He's being canceled by those with money, by those with groups to get companies like Apple to stop marketing, doing advertising with Twitter and other companies. And if they don't, how dare you, as I get closer to the camera, how dare you? We're going to cancel you. You better not put money with Twitter or with Tesla because we're going to have an issue.
Well,
because how dare somebody actually give truth and uncover what's been going on, proving that people who've been called conspiracy theorists were actually those who said truth, spoke truth, questioned, and started to see, okay, maybe we are right with what's going on. Yeah, that's what's happening. I still think what's being done to him and Tesla is on purpose. It's not because he's spending more time over at Twitter. No way.
Correct. But I think this is a guy that he knows that what are you going to do? Get rid of him? No, you're not going to get rid of me. And if the stock goes down to where it's the valuation of that thing is supposed to be, fine, I'll still make more cars. And while I'm making more cars, I'll go start a phone company that competes with Apple, which he's already talking about doing. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This guy is kind of unflusterable. And when you're unflusterable and you own Twitter, the number one political outlet, it's not Facebook. Facebook is not a political outlet. Twitter is a political conversation
100%.
that they have. So when you're like, look, you're the United States of America. You're Americans. You need a town square where you can get up on your soapbox. And these guys over here, the left, has prevented any conservatives getting on that soapbox. He basically went into the town square and said, conservatives, welcome back to your soapbox. Go crazy. I'm not going to suppress what you have to say anymore.
What's going to happen?
That's a hero.
But
what's
going to happen to him now?
Why do I feel so dark inside when you just looked at me and said that? Why do I got to go flush my soul out now?
We've seen history proves it that when someone speaks out like Elon Musk has been doing, when people speak out and they release government type information like this, they either disappear, they are suicided, or they're ruined, or they end up in front of a January 6th
West,
committee.
There's an example. Kanye West, billionaire. And they tried to how'd they try to cancel him? They tried to cancel him with money.
He canceled
and
himself.
Right. They did. Well, Elon's in the same boat.
Well, no,
Elon's in the
really.
same boat.
He's not out there posting swastikas and anti.
He's doing just as much damage to his brand as Kanye.
Yes,
was
he is.
Doing.
Speaking of which, he lost $100 billion last year.
Does he care? No.
I don't care
think
who
he
you
cares.
are.
I
You
think he
lose
cares.
$100 billion. Eric, yes, he cares.
His
He effing cares.
his assets are in his brain.
That's why we want Elon on this show. If anybody knows Elon, we just want to talk to Elon. Elon, if you're out there, we won't cancel you. We love the fact that you won't get canceled. He's not allowing himself to be canceled.
No.
And even if they come after and destroy his Tesla corporation, and I say his,
No, who
Drew's-
cares?
Drew says he's only 13% owner anymore. I don't know that to be a fact.
Yeah, but he owns the licenses to all of the electric cars
Bingo.
being built.
Bingo.
Yeah,
So
It's-
BMW sells a
and
car.
he's rich
he
enough
gets-
to not be canceled.
Exactly.
I don't agree with you on that one, Vic.
Why?
I because we've seen what happens to people. Look at President
Like Dave
Trump.
Chappelle?
Well,
You're not canceling
Mhm.
people with money and clout.
look
It's
at
just
President
not
Trump.
happening.
They canceled
Rogan.
Joe Rogan,
You guys aren't
not
listening to me.
happening.
Joe Rogan.
They canceled the president
Goldberg.
of our
Whoopi Goldberg.
country.
Oh, that's a good one.
They canceled the president of our country. So how can you say that people
No,
cannot
it's-
be canceled?
no,
This
diff-
guy was a sitting president, President Donald Trump.
Yeah.
They canceled him while he was in office, deleted him from social media platforms, shut down Parler,
Yeah.
came after him with every single thing they had. It doesn't matter how powerful you are
Here's a new rule.
or who you are.
Here's a new rule.
If the Democrat regime doesn't want you, guess what? You're canceled.
Here's a new rule. For every negative diatribe you do on this show, you have to do an equal positive diatribe.
Okay, so in other words, you want me to lie to the people?
No, I want you to find the bright spot.
There's lots of bright things.
Here we go.
Elon Musk is out there releasing this information. We have truth that we always knew, but now we have proof of the truth. I mean, those are very positive things.
So
I'm more worried about something happening to Elon's health than I'm worried about something happening to his
Correct.
I'm worried about
economy. He is too
all of
smart.
it,
He
all
is
of
too
it.
accomplished.
That's right.
He has too much money. He's not going anywhere unless somebody wants him to go where. It's not going to be because he's going to be canceled with some sort of business. I mean, keep in mind, how many successful SpaceX launches were this year? We
he
forget
has
about
to have government clearance to have those SpaceX launches. To keep that in mind.
and that's not going to stop. There would be a backlash against the government.
Here's a
Would
because-
there?
Yes,
here's
there
a
is.
here's
Come
a
on.
here's a music
Somehow-
analogy.
From a
I-
political standpoint.
No,
too.
there wouldn't.
And here's the other reason, Tabitha, because even our government, if they're against conservative or anything else that you say, even our government, even though it's not widely talked about yet, knows how important the battle for space is. I know that may sound crazy to some
Elon
people.
Musk.
The battle for space right
Yeah.
now is every bit as important as what's going on
They
here.
don't need Musk
because
to
of
do
it.
it.
That's right.
They don't need Musk to do it.
Here, nope.
They
stop,
have-
I'm not so
stop.
sure about that.
Here's
They
a
have Jeff Bezos.
perfect
doing the
time for my
same
analogy.
thing, and a lot
Is
of
it
other
Bezos
folks.
or Bezos?
I don't know.
perfect time for my analogy. So in music, if the guitar player from Steely Dan died, Michael Brecker. Oh, he did die, actually. Good example. You can replace Michael with someone else and you can still go and tour as Steely Dan and no one will know the damn difference.
Yeah, that happened with Journey.
It's
their
exactly
lead
right.
singer, right?
Well, that was hard too, but that's like the CEO of most companies. You can kind of replace them. It's like, oh, it's a shame our CEO died, but we're going to bring in a new CEO. If Elon Musk was to die, it's the same as if Eddie Van Halen dies. There is no more Van Halen. And if Elon Musk passes away, there's no one there to replace him. And that's kind of what I'm saying right now.
I'm glad you used Eddie and not David.
Yeah, if David Lee Roth is dead, you got a bunch of people that can actually come in and do the job.
I
still.
think
I'm
you
glad
guys
you
have
said
both
that.
lost your minds.
Ow, we've
I'm
lost their
serious.
mind. How's that?
I think you've both lost
Because
your minds.
if Tesla goes away, he will move on to something else that needs to be fixed on the planet Earth. He will go in and reinvent the wheel, and
Bingo.
it will be better than before. And he'll license it. And I that's what you're not understanding.
I understand perfectly fine. What you guys aren't understanding is that the Democrat regime has the ultimate power.
No, they don't.
And
Not anymore.
everyone
Not anymore.
in this, oh, come on. Everyone
No.
in this country, we're all replaceable. Every last one of us.
Yes, we are.
Even Elon Musk. Everyone's replaceable because I can guarantee you there is someone out there, if he were to step out of the picture, that would step up in his place. Always is the case. Don't ever think that that's not true. And we have seen how powerful the Democratic regime is. They have a lot of power. They have a lot of money behind them. And it's unfortunate, very, very unfortunate.
Has Joe Rogan been canceled?
No, he's still out
Has
there.
Dave Chappelle been
Boom.
canceled?
There you
He's
go.
still out there moving along, but
Thank you.
overwhelmingly, they both lost a lot of money.
Yeah, but not enough to make a
Yeah.
massive difference where their voice is not being heard. And they've called out government. They've called out liberal messaging.
Why
And
do you think
Elon,
yeah.
Elon didn't do it until they started to come after him. He just responded to it.
Look what they did
If
to
you have enough
President
money-
Trump.
I know that the President Trump situation's it's an interesting one because they tried to cancel him. He wasn't canceled. He's still
He
he's still leading any possible Republican race for president
because of the people they cheated
because
him out
he
of an
hasn't been
election.
canceled.
They
They
literally
tried to
cheated
cancel
him out of an election.
They
He
tried,
should be sitting in the White House right
they
now. and
tried
he's
to
not.
cancel him. He has
They
not
did
been
cancel him.
There are
No, he took some
uncancellables.
hits, but he has not been
Losing
canceled.
There
his
are
job as president.
There
is more
are
than a hit.
What do you mean? He didn't
uncancellables.
lose his job as president.
Yes, he did.
Nobody
he
took-
won that election.
No,
He
you're
won
you're
that
kind of wrong.
election.
You're kind of wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. He wasn't canceled. He was deplatformed. There's a big difference.
He was canceled
was-
and platformed.
he battled the
Vic
media.
is gone. He's
I
left the studio.
hey, can we
No, you got to be able to
can
break
somebody
stuff
from
down.
Wendy's bring me one of those cancel
Yeah.
this,
Until you guys
you
watch
gotta-
2,000 Mules,
no,
no one can offer an opinion.
maybe Trump was deplatformed from Twitter. I will give you that.
And Parlor.
I will give you that. If you cancel somebody, it's kind of like the girl from that was what was she was doing the Star Wars thing, and she brought up her conservative values. And
Oh,
then
Gina.
they fired her. She was blackballed. I think there's only a few jobs that you can actually be canceled from. First of all, if you work for a company and you do something wrong, you can be canceled because of the outrage from the people who buy your product. It's like you've done something wrong. Unfortunately, we have to let you go because it violates our standards, whatever. Movie star, you can cancel them. You get blackballed and you get no jobs because you don't have multiple millions of dollars to go do your own movie. Comedians can't be canceled because all they got to do is go, if you like what I say, I'm going to be at the Fox Theater tonight. Come on down, buy
Bingo.
a ticket. You can't
well,
cancel
you
them.
can, because the Fox Theater could say, hey, we're
Well,
not
good, then
going to
fine.
host
Then I'll
you.
be at Diamond Music Hall. We'll sell tickets at Diamond Music Hall then. You see what I'm saying? There are certain people in the entertainment industry that cannot be canceled. I don't think you can cancel a musician. If you like Kanye West, he could probably still go sell 5 million units in the next few days if he comes out with a song that people like. I'm sorry. It's
I
just
had
the
a problem
truth.
with what was going on with Kanye until he took it
Agreed.
to the Jewish side in the comments.
Well, what about Whoopi Goldberg?
Well,
She did the same
I've
She
never
thing.
needs to be
Whoopi's-
canceled. Forget
but,
her.
But she's in liberal media.
Is she
so-
uncancelable?
She has been canceled.
Has she?
Yes.
She
you
lost
don't
her
see her
job?
on the show anymore.
No. She just came out with an apology. I think she might even be on a suspension, but I don't care. I don't watch a damn show.
I'm just
because
saying.
it's stupid.
I think that the tide is turning. I think that
But-
Gen Z or whatever comes after Gen Z, they don't like this cancel
and
stuff
I'm telling
either,
you,
man.
we're on the cusp of something because I talked to liberals, Democrats who think, wow, this concept is great. You guys trying to talk to people, or at least talk about some of these issues. At Tabitha, I know until I watch 2,000 Mules, I'm going to say you're right about his second term being canceled.
I think it was there's a difference. There was a war
But I
against
gotta
him.
It was a coup, is what happened. The
But-
Democrat regime staged a coup, and we need to start calling it that. It was a coup.
Okay.
And
I will say they tried to cancel him. They tried to
he had to
they-
move to Florida,
they-
for gosh sakes.
they tried to demonize his brand, the Trump brand, which was in Vegas, it was in New York, it was in Chicago. And I think that those buildings they tried to cancel for sure, no doubt about it. But Trump, oh yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I was reading something from
Go
the
ahead.
line.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
What was it?
Robert says Kanye had a point. On what exactly? I mean, we try to, it's all part of the conversation that came into Elon not being canceled because he's dumping Twitter files day after day after day. Elon's popularity right now, I would argue, is higher than it's ever been.
Me too.
Absolutely so.
No doubt.
100%, because we're now hearing from him more often. And even the people who hate him, guess what? They hang on his every word. They hang on every tweet.
Right.
He lives rent free in
He
their
doesn't
brain.
care.
He
He
has
lives
Oh,
rent
yeah.
free in their brain.
And
That's such a Gen Z thing.
is it?
I love it. Keep no
Okay.
cap.
I
No
thought it's
cap.
been around for a while, but
No cap.
all right. Yeah, baby. So yeah, I'll watch that Tabitha. I am going to watch the
we
2000 Mules.
all,
But
you
still-
have to watch it.
But still, at the end of the day, Donald Trump is not. He may have had parts
All
of
right.
it, but he has not been
His
canceled.
life
He's
has
not been
been
canceled.
nothing but a living hell.
He's a martyr.
Since he became
He's
president.
a martyr.
Bingo, because that would be, and guess what? It would be the same thing with DeSantis if he ran for president. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, he would feel what Donald Trump has felt. It will happen.
Yeah.
That's been around. That's been around
Well,
forever with the presidents in the last 20, 30 years.
I think we all know that
as media changed.
there's a double standard. Clearly, Joe Biden, as we all know, he did release his taxes. He's not constitutionally obligated to do so, but he did release his taxes. He owes about $370,000 in unpaid
Who does?
taxes. Joe Biden does.
Yeah.
He released his taxes.
Was
That's
it
public
372?
public knowledge. I don't know, 370 something. And President Trump has not released his taxes. He released a portion of taxes, I think his first year in presidency, which is no big deal. Now, tomorrow, he has to release his taxes again, all of his taxes for 7 years. That's unconstitutional. No president is constitutionally obligated to release their taxes. The guy had to move out of New York City, his long-term home, and move to Florida because he could not do business in New York. Because I'll tell you what, as much as we don't like it, the left has a lot of power. They have a whole lot of
Yes.
power. And we have
Duh.
to change that power structure. We
That's
have to change
media.
it.
It's media
It's
power.
all in the media. You got that right.
But what
It's
do you
media
do?
power.
How do you do that?
Take
now,
the power away from the media.
how?
Turn your TV off.
Well, but that's here. But,
Stop watching it.
Okay, Tabitha. Guess what? It's already happened, and I'm sorry to.
Don't you think that there's left wingers that say, don't listen to that cancel this
Correct.
show?
Tabitha? I understand where you're coming from, but guess what? Half the country, or as you say, we're the majority. If you have more of a conservative lean,
Definitely the majority.
guess what? They have turned the TV off already.
I
That's
would- I
why the
wouldn't be
ratings.
so sure about that.
No, listen. That's why the ratings have gone
Oh,
so
yeah.
low with national media and these national shows. Even local news losing everybody. Tons of people
Yeah.
just in the last 5 years. Tabitha, people have turned the TV off. Okay, but
Correct.
guess what? The people who like the messages, who like the lockdowns, who like what I'm still waiting for somebody to say they like what Biden's doing, but follow the Democratic messages, they'll still watch.
Yeah.
You can tell them not to, but they're not going to listen to you.
No,
So they're
they're
always
not.
going to be there. The
That's right.
people who should have the TV off already, at least in their thinking, their
Correct.
feeling, their loves, have turned it off.
Correct.
It's over. Now the one thing Donald Trump did when he was president, like it or not, is he drew that line in the sand and you found out who people were. And he divided the country. Some people think in a good way, maybe in a bad way, but you found out who people were.
Right.
And now it's more acceptable to talk publicly about who you are
Mhm.
and your values if you have those from a Republican standpoint. And of course, we saw the haters from him as well. Donald Trump took hits, no doubt about it.
Yep.
But I
And
still don't think,
continues.
but
to take
he
hits.
has not been canceled because of his power. If you have power, money, fame, a backing, and you still want to do something, you won't be canceled.
But he lost his job. You don't consider that being canceled.
He lost the war against him to battle him. He was impeached twice because of the left wing. He had the media against him on all flanks. On all flanks. It wasn't about being canceled. Being canceled is something where you kind of just disappear into oblivion.
Correct.
And he wasn't canceled. He just had a massive party at Mar-a-Lago with our friends who were just
Well,
there.
canceled
Yeah,
doesn't
George-
mean dead.
Yeah,
I mean, I never said that
GS3
he's.
was
He
there.
still has 30%.
What do you? Okay, maybe our
Mhm.
definitions of being canceled are different because Vic was canceled, but yet here he is, rising above all of it, better than he ever was. But yet he was still canceled.
But right, once again, the reason I was canceled, and I say that, was because I was told you are not going to be fired. This was an off-air deal that happened. And
Correct.
I've seen all of the I showed my bosses, by the way, if you didn't, this is in our first episode. If you want to go back and check it out with our original content, I showed my boss all the emails of me reporting this person for a month before the incident happened, saying, I'm worried something's going to help me, to the powers that be. So they saw it. They said, no, nothing's going to happen. But then the mob came.
Yeah.
As you were
Yeah.
talking about, Eric, and
Yeah.
then, of course, canceled. And then from the loss standpoint, because I'd already apologized for what I said and what I did.
Correct.
And owned it. But the cancelization
Here,
from the loss.
here,
standpoint.
here's a scenario for cancelization. You're a physician at Mercy Medical here in St. Louis, Missouri. You write a blog post saying, COVID isn't that bad. You can cure it. You can cure.
I like this example.
You can cure it with the I word and a little bit of horse paste. And that's what I recommend. All of a sudden, you're going to get about 5,000 Twitter users, about 10,000 Facebook users saying this guy's got the gow. All of a sudden, the liberal administrator at that place to go, can you come in here for a second? You need to get all your stuff out of your office and leave. And I hope you have a good life. Then he's going to go try to get another job with that on his resume. He won't be able to get another job with that on his resume. He will now have to become a plumber in some small little that's being canceled. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do.
You have got to understand.
I fully understand what canceled means, but
political correctness gone awry is what being canceled is. Dave Chappelle, which he was
canceled.
No,
canceled doesn't mean you don't get a comeback. Look at Vic.
He was not canceled.
You guys just
Dave
have the wrong meaning of cancel.
I love this conversation. How
Dave Chappelle,
we're kind of on the same page.
Dave Chappelle had a conversation with his audience about transgenderism and how this seems very odd to me.
Yes. He makes fun of transgender people.
He makes fun of everybody. But the transgendered were very sensitive to it. They walked down to Netflix and said, this guy's got the gow. He's got to go. Sorry, you got to get rid of him. Netflix looked at him. He looked at the transgendered. And he said, yeah, we're going to keep Chappelle around. And Dave was like, that sucks to be you. He won that battle. But he was this close.
He was canceled.
He was this close.
By the way, there was no disrespect meant for plumbers.
No, I was just going to say that. I love
anyway.
I love plumbers.
No, a different job. You have now been canceled out of being.
I'd still like to be a plumber. As you remember in our previous show, I talked about having my own plumbing business.
You now are canceled out of being a physician anywhere because you uprose against the narrative against the Dr. Fauci.
You're acting as if somebody's canceled, then they're hiding under a rock for the rest of their lives, and they never have another good moment. And that's not what canceled is. Canceled, at least we all may have different interpretations of canceled.
Yeah, I see that. I do. I see it. Megyn
Kelly.
I think,
Megyn Kelly was canceled.
And by the way, another person I've reached out to try to get on the show.
But she's doing phenomenal now.
She's doing phenomenal well. Yeah, she does.
Well, when I say canceled,
she can speak more freely.
An entrepreneur is never going to get canceled. An entrepreneur is going to wake up, they're going to try to sell their product, and they're going to go about their life. Who gets canceled is when you have a boss, a CEO, or a board of directors that say, that guy's out of here, right? And then when you live in a country where liberalism is infecting every company now, you're screwed if you have liberal thoughts. You see what I'm saying? That's being canceled. Conservatives don't cancel anybody. Tell me,
yes, we do.
Tell me one person that a conservative can cancel.
Well, we've all canceled.
Can we cancel Whoopi Goldberg?
We did.
Did we? She's still on the show today.
I don't think she's on that show
anymore. She is on that show.
I thought they fired her.
No, she came.
I don't watch it, so I don't know.
What is wrong with you?
I don't
watch
it
research, but I watch that.
I liked Sister Nuns or whatever that movie was called.
Sister Nuns, that's like from the 80s.
Oh my God, Tabitha. I'm going to give you.
Outside of that, I don't know the first thing about Whoopi Goldberg.
Is the last time
I know where she lives.
I'm going to give you
I've seen her hanging out in her driveway
assignment.
before.
Here's a homework assignment. Give me one instance of a super liberal person, saying something that offended conservatives that got canceled. Go ahead. I'll give you 10 seconds and we can play some Jeopardy music.
Oh, what's that guy's name? The governor of New York.
Cuomo? No.
Canceled.
That was an ethics thing.
She's talking about Chris Cuomo.
No, I'm talking about let's talk about both of them. But you know what? Chris Cuomo's recently popped up on News Nation.
Yeah, he's got his own
show.
He
got fired because he got outed for helping his brother. He's supposed to be a straightforward news program, and he was not.
And
that's
what
different.
About and what about the governor? I mean, look what happened to him over all the sexual harassment claims. You don't think that we didn't come after him hard over the COVID, mixing the COVID patients? He took COVID folks out of a hospital that tested positive for COVID, put them back in the nursing home.
He wasn't canceled for that.
Killed many, many people.
That wasn't why he got ousted.
People. We came out after him.
He was not impeached for that.
Oh, he wasn't.
He resigned.
He had to resign.
Because if he
didn't resign, he would have been fired.
Because of what was the reason that Governor Cuomo got ousted?
Well,
Wasn't it a sexual thing?
It
Some
wasn't
kind-
COVID related. It was
because of the sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment. That's a criminal
Absolutely.
activity. I'm talking about.
Yeah, but if we hadn't brought it to light and everybody wasn't speaking out about it, it would have been swept under the rug like everything else.
Maybe I'm talking
Like
about.
Epstein.
I'm talking about a Chris Pratt who might come out and
Anthony
say,
Weiner was canceled.
Anthony Weiner.
Yes.
I'm talking about a Chris
Sure.
Pratt who would come out and say something as innocuous as, "I'm a Christian.
He said it.
I'm a Christian and I don't subscribe to this liberalism." They tried to cancel him, but he's such a big star.
It didn't work.
It didn't work.
And he did it at an award show on top of it where there was a huge audience.
Exactly.
Will
That's what
Smith
I'm
was
talking about.
canceled for slapping Chris Rock.
That's a criminal activity. That's a different thing. I'm not talking
so
about
you're
That is-
saying he
yeah, that is
deserved
a
to be canceled?
I'm talking
That's a
about
criminal activity.
I'm talking
That was
about
an assault.
I'm talking about someone that would walk into a school board meeting who might be a celebrity and say, all of this CRT garbage that you're doing and all of this transgender stuff that you're doing is wrong. That person could be canceled for being somehow against the liberal mentality.
It's very difficult for conservatives to cancel someone on the left,
But it
because
always happens
they
from the left or the
control
right.
the media. They control the media. They control everything in our lives. We have no voice.
The Me Too movement. That's another one. That's a good one. Someone just
Mhm.
said that on Facebook.
Well, the Me Too movement is what happened to Cuomo.
The Me Too, yes, the
Mm-hmm.
Me Too movement was guilty before proven innocent. Ooh, let that one sink in for a second.
No,
it
we
was
are.
a big another sham,
Like-
is what the Me Too movement was.
Let that one sink in for
Just
a second.
another
Paula
sham.
Dean, yeah, she used a slur and she was canceled.
But she's a conservative.
I don't know if she is or isn't.
Oh God,
It is
come on.
interesting because Whoopi Goldberg, who is one of the, and that name came up earlier. By the way, somebody said Ghost is a much better movie, Tabitha.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about Ghost. It was kind of creepy though.
I'm not trying to be argumentative. I'm just stating the facts.
But
The facts.
you are, if you're liberal or have liberal leaning, you're going to have more backing when it comes to this. You are less likely to be canceled. I mean, look what the Post tried to do to me. They knew I was more conservative. They knew about the radio show we did.
Mhm.
And even in the follow-up story that they did about this awesome podcast that we have, they didn't write anything about the story when I was finally allowed to tell the full story because they had an agenda. They knew just a
Correct.
conservative show.
Yes.
Don't you think it's kind of early
Yeah.
for you to be back on
Yeah.
as if you're the decider of, yeah, that was the first question, by the way, I was asked when they wanted to promote what we were
Yeah.
doing at Cancel This.
Yeah.
The very first question I was asked, don't you think it's too early for you to be back on air?
No.
I was like, actually, it feels like it's
Why
been
would
an
it be
eternity.
too? Yeah,
Am I not allowed to support my family and my
Right,
kids?
right.
exactly.
Hmm? Here, let me tell you the full
Yeah.
story about what happened. Oh, that's interesting. I wish I could have heard that from you before. I was like, well, I wasn't allowed
Yeah.
to talk
And
about
that's
my
where the
bosses.
danger is.
But they didn't want to talk about it. And I guarantee then the next question was, well, is this conservative? Why is this conservative? It was all about conservative. Then going after the owner of the building. So yes, I agree, Tabitha. I bring that up so that people understand. If you have a liberal backer in media, you know, it's going to be a little nicer.
It's so true. If we were doing this live out of the Riverfront Times studios, Vic would have had a much softer landing. Trust
Oh,
me.
Hell yes.
Trust me. This would not have even made it to print. It would never have made it. It would be
Of
like,
course.
hey man, we got this crazy nut job that just sent us this. Yeah, we're gonna put this in the garbage can. Just letting you know it's out there. Have a nice day. Boom. That's exactly what would have happened.
Yeah, but the Post is a terrible news organization.
They really are.
I mean, it's brutal.
Well, they
I
have been
like
for years.
I like their sports guys. Got a couple of their friends, but as a publication, it's brutal.
Well, look what they
and there's
do-
a reason why
Oh,
not
yeah.
many people
some of the
subscribe.
some
it's
of
just, it's a
the
brutal,
articles that they wrote.
brutal publication.
The articles they wrote that basically got rid of the St. Louis Rams back in the day, how they were. I mean, just that alone is enough to make me go, never read that rag. Just don't. It doesn't represent St. Louis in a positive light. It's very liberal. Anyway, back to the story. You just have to understand what you're up against and who you're fighting against. Sometimes the most important thing, and why I love this show, know who the enemy is. Just be able to talk about who the damn enemy is.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because what the problem I think is, and I hope someday what unites us all is the common enemy right now is our government. And unfortunately, people on the left, their enemy is also the government, because guess what? Our government, our Congress, they're not fighting for them any harder than they're fighting for us. And they just don't realize it, because they're
Yeah.
they're like, okay, give me more free stuff. Give me more handouts. Yes, I want universal basic income. Yes, I want free healthcare. Yes, I want free tuition. Give me all of the free stuff and I'll keep voting for you. Even though
Yeah.
these things hurt me, right now they're good
But
enough.
you know what else? I have some liberal friends. A lot of them are in music industry. I think that if Twitter would have been like it is now, or what they're proclaiming it's going to be, a lot of my liberal friends are like, look, Eric, you're cute and all, but the science is mask work. Eric, I know you're conservative.
And they didn't show you once one controlled study how masks work. I'm still waiting for it.
I know.
I would change in a heartbeat.
There's no evidence for
you're
it.
so cute, but you got to get vaccinated, man. I'm
think
worried
you're cute.
for you. I'm worried for you, Eric. And I look at him like, man, do you not do any research? Do you know what a T cell is? Do you know what a natural immunity is? Do you understand that the mask you're wearing is a facade? It is a fake piece of garment.
You know how I feel.
But now that Twitter is opening up and this whole segment is about Elon saying, let's follow the science. Let's ask some questions. Maybe these liberals will go, hey, I just saw this thing that says masking doesn't really work. I wonder why the government's masking us if it doesn't work. So that might be a good thing.Maybe it's the kind of thing that brings us a little bit back together.
It could be, Eric, but you're giving a whole throughout the whole pandemic. And also, and you guys know it as family members. We just had holidays. You may have spent time with family members who disagree with your political views or vice versa. There's one word that separates, and it could be from a Republican standpoint too. When you do see truth, it's called pride. There's a lot of people who refuse to admit that they're wrong. If you're wrong and you realize you might be wrong and you've actually opened your mind to see something, are you willing to admit that you're wrong?
Are you?
That's what I'm saying.
I'm asking you guys because after you watch 2,000 Mules, I'm going to ask you guys this.
Yeah, there's something. Well, I've always said something happened with the election.
I'm just teasing.
I'm just not going to the point where I'm ready to say that yet. Something happened overnight. That pissed me off. Oh, we're going to stop counting votes, not to get sidetracked. Oh, for the first time in history.
Yeah.
Oh, all of a sudden there's 200,000 straight votes for Joe Biden. Oh, wait a second. That's changing Michigan. Oh, that's changing Wisconsin. Yes, something happened. However, people are prideful. And Eric, sometimes if you're in debates and arguments, family members, friends, I have some friends who are steadfast on mask. There is no way in hell that they're ever going to think that mask did not work. There's just no way.
Yeah.
Or admit it, at least to me or to others.
Yeah. And here's why I call myself a independent.
Oh, good Lord.
What?
So you're independent today.
Bye.
Here's why I call myself an independent or a libertarian.
I would love to know.
Because a liberal will say what's good for me is good for you. And what's good for us is a collective, right? If masking helps me, it'll help you. And if it helps you, it'll help my kids. So that means you need to be masked up. A conservative, on the other hand, will say, what's good for me is good for me. If this isn't good for you, I respect your ability to not wear a mask.
Well said, Eric, especially in the pandemic.
Yeah, that's the difference. The same with vaccinations. We were told, and liberals believe it, if you get vaccinated, Eric, your COVID will not affect me, and then we'll stop the COVID. So there you go, Eric. You need to get vaccinated. I'm like, I don't want to get vaccinated. Oh, well, you're a bad person.
Well, it's all coming back.
But the same doesn't happen to a conservative.
But it doesn't matter, because if people want to wear a mask, they shouldn't worry about anybody else, remember? Because if masks work, it doesn't matter if somebody else is wearing a mask or not, right?
It does matter to some degree.
You missed my point.
I know I get your point. And you're right.
If masks
your
work,
point is right.
Then you shouldn't, if you're going to wear a mask, and you're allowed to, by the way, we have nothing against masks, but trying to force somebody else to wear a mask is an issue.
Yeah.
If you're going to wear a mask, you shouldn't worry about anybody else because your mask works, right?
Right.
So you're going to wear a mask only because it works. So if you've already said you're wearing a mask because it works, then you should not care about somebody else. So go on, wear your mask. But
I care. I used to not care. I used to be like,
there we go.
If you want to wear a mask, good for you, wear your mask. Now I'm getting angry about it. Because
don't let it get you there.
Don't worry about that.
As long as people continue to wear their mask, then the government still feels like they have control over us.
I understand your point.
For mask mandates. At the Arch, somebody told us yesterday in the comment line, at the St. Louis Arch, people have to wear their mask. I am seeing more masks now. We predicted this already. Yesterday, they made that announcement that now the United States, under Biden's orders, we are COVID testing people when they fly into the United States
Only from
from
China.
China.
Yeah, and you know what?
And where does it go from there?
But here's I get what you're saying, Tabitha, but guess what? A lot of people, because they've been conditioned a certain way,
I know.
they feel comfortable in a mask. I have no problem. I mean, Eric, I'm sure you agree with me on this too. I have no problem if you think and I understand from the government standpoint, if you feel it works for you, fine, whatever.
No doubt.
I get your
But
point, and I
Don't
completely
freaking
understand.
tell me to wear one when
No.
I know there's been not one
No.
controlled scientific study that shows masking works outside of an N95, as we talk about, fitted properly, without a beard, disposed of properly. Nothing, not one study.
Yeah.
These are facts. Show me a study that
Right.
actually proves it, and then I will change my mind in a heartbeat.
Now, if you do want to keep the spittle out of a body you're operating on, that's probably a good idea to wear a mask.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to not get COVID-19, you might need a hazmat outfit.
That's the only thing that would technically work.
Then we need to get hazmat outfits with
But
little.
they didn't do that. They're like, wear your
filtered
t-shirt.
systems.
They told people to wear their
Okay.
t-shirts wrapped around their face. Gee, that'll help you out.
But we still see people. I mean, I still see.
I know.
An older woman wearing her mask in the car the other day, and I was like, okay. I mean, she probably either she forgot about it.
No.
I have
it was
family
comfortable.
members that wear masks, and I don't have an issue with it. It's just that the longer people keep doing this, the more the government has they feel like they're empowered to say, okay, because there's some Americans who still want to do it. Let's just go ahead and put these masking rules in place. And when we see what's happening in China right now,
I hope we're talking
it's
about
just
this
going to
for
be a matter of time before it happens
abstract.
here.
I hope you're not saying that we're getting masking back, correct?
I'm not. I am saying that there is a
It's not coming
possibility
back.
It's not coming
it
back.
could
There's
happen.
no
We're
way.
going to say no, and we're not
It's
going
not happening.
to do it.
Is
But
it
that
going to be in the
doesn't.
schools?
What we just said, the Arch is making people
Well, the
wear
Arch
masks.
is a.
When you
it's
go to the
federal
hospital,
lands.
you have to wear a mask. When I go to my doctor's office at St. Luke's Hospital, before I can go into the hospital, I have to put a mask on, and not just any
Okay.
mask. It
All
has
right.
to be a blue
Well,
surgical mask.
all right.
And you won't want to miss our conversation tomorrow at 8:00. We've got cardiologist Joel Kahn.
Yeah.
He was canceled because he started to speak up. He's got, about 100,000 followers because he actually went after what Dr. Fauci said, and he was canceled. So he's going to join us tomorrow to actually talk about what's happened with masking, what's happened with vaccine, what true health is all about, what it's like to be canceled and continue to fight back now. So he'll be joining us at 8. We got the Weedium coming up at 9. We are packed tomorrow. We've got the party tonight at Winty's, 7 p.m. in the Chesterfield Valley. 7 to close. Drop on by. Say hi if you want to. It'd be great to see a bunch of faces out there. We'll have a video crew. We got pictures being taken, video being made. Hey, we're just trying to have fun and do what we do here at Cancel This. Love that you're a part of this show as we continue to grow on a daily basis. Share the show on all of our platforms. CancelTheShow.com. Click on where to stream. Jump it on YouTube. It's another great spot too. Click the bell, subscribe, like, comment on all of our stuff. We appreciate it. When we come back, we have to hit this story. I could not believe this when Tabitha showed me. Apple is being sued over their Apple Watch.
It's so ridiculous.
They're being accused of being racist.
so
What?
ridiculous.
Yeah, check it out. We're
Completely
gonna
unfounded.
We'll get into that plus a whole lot more when we come back right after this. Got to take a quick break. Back with more Cancel This. Hey guys, welcome back to Cancel This. Go to cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel, Eric Johnson, and Scott Gherkin. Glad you're joining us every day to make this show what it is. We continue to grow, expand, and want your opinions. Thanks for sharing the show. Cancelthisshow.com. Of course, we got all of our original content. You can go back and check out interviews and shows that we've done. One thing before we get to the, we have to go back to talk about what's happening with Southwest and baggage and other airlines. But that was a super popular story last night. But we got to get to this first. Eric, somebody's trying to cancel Apple. Yeah, they say, or a group says that Apple and Forbes is doing the story. Apple's facing a lawsuit in the U.S. right now over allegations that the blood oxygen sensor, stay with me, they have a blood oxygen sensor in their Apple Watch.
The new Apple Watch, yes.
Well, Apple's being accused of being racist and racially biased against people with darker skin color.
What?
Well, that sensor, the pulse oximeter, which detects blood oxygen levels, it shines a light through your skin to figure out what the oxygen level is, right?
Okay.
Well, apparently that sensor that shines a light has more of a difficult time getting through darker skin.
And it has nothing to do with the watch. That's all oximeters, even at the hospital, because if you go to the hospital and they put the oximeter on your finger, if you're a female or maybe a male and you're wearing nail polish, it has a more difficult time seeing through the nail polish to see your blood concentration, which is how it works. It shines a light through your skin and it measures the concentration of blood, the darkness of the blood. And so naturally, if you're tan, or sometimes even if you just have fake tan spray on, or if you're just a darker skin tone, it can't see through as well. It has nothing to do with the Apple Watch. That's all oximeters. It's the science in general.
Well, two quotes from the complaint, the lawsuit that was filed, the class action lawsuit. It shows signs for white people easier than those of color. Quote,
Blame God.
Reliance on pulse oximetry to triage patients and adjust supplemental oxygen levels may place black patients at an increased risk for
More oxygen?
hypoxemia.
People shouldn't
Hypoxemia.
use your Apple Watch. I wear an Apple Watch, and it has some fantastic health benefits having an Apple Watch. It really does. It catches arrhythmias. The newer ones can read your blood oxygen.
Okay.
There's some phenomenal things these watches can do. But guess what? When you buy an Apple Watch, what is the first thing they tell you? The disclaimer: this is not a medical device.
Cover the camera?
It's not a medical device.
Okay.
Cover the camera. I like that.
Also true. That should also
Cover
be
the
said.
camera?
Cover the camera.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's not a medical device.
do
It's a frivolous, ridiculous lawsuit because in this country, guess
Well,
what?
do you think they'll settle out of court?
They better not.
Yeah, but Apple has
I
massive.
could care less
massive
about
law
Apple.
firms.
Well,
but if they can, then we need to sue them over something stupid too. We'll take their money.
I mean, if you're Apple and you're the wokesters that they are, we see the problem here. This is due to decades of oximeter problems. We put this on there in the same capacity or technology that most oximeters have. We do see this as a racist problem, and we are trying to invent a situation that will make them. We want to be the leader in this. See how a PR company might write that. That's what they'll say, and they go, "We are settling this out of court because we think this is a big enough deal that we have to really. We are so sorry that our African American brothers don't have the ability to be, oxidized or whatever the heck it is that they're doing." So that's probably what will happen. That's what will happen with this woke company. This woke company will see their side and go, "Oh, yes, I see your challenge." So anyway,
We're having a catastrophe. Your cup has got a hole in the bottom of it, Vic. I'm not sure if you know this.
You don't think I know? Yeah, exactly. I do.
But it's so funny because you're still trying to drink it.
I am, because I need that coffee. So as ridiculous as that story is, what do you guys think about this? Should it be known? Should college coaches make a big deal? For example, last night, you had one college football coach, Lane Kiffin, who's the head coach at Ole Miss. They were playing Texas Tech. And he said that a Texas Tech player spit and possibly, he doesn't even know for sure, but possibly used a racial slur against one of his players.
Oh, boy.
So he took it to the media, and now it is getting national attention. After the game, and Kiffin brought this up, and it's very interesting. He said they announce our 11, which is Jordan Watkins, who wasn't in the fight. There was a fight that occurred.
Yeah.
And he says, quote, there was a racial slur involved. Then he says, that's not the point of what we're talking about. It's the spitting. I brought our own 71, talking about his players, up to the officials, right or wrong. You see him crying? He's not crying, not because he got spit on. It was because something was said. Asked to clarify whether a Texas Tech player used a racial slur toward one of his players, Kiffin said he wasn't sure. I'm not going to, because I did not hear it, this is Lane Kiffin speaking, say that it happened for sure, but he gave a racial slur to our player. I was told that it was said during the fight, but I did not hear that. So that obviously would be a giant issue.
He said, she said. The
And
whole thing is
the two players who were in the fight are both black.
So one black
Kiffin said-
person called another
Yeah,
black
that's-
person a name.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to defend our players when a kid spits on them. Or he says, I'm going to defend our players when a kid spits on them, and is accused to a national audience that it's him. So
Yeah.
Jordan has to deal with this. I don't know. The Texas Tech coach was not asked about the incident, but Kiffin said that he spoke with that coach about the spitting incident after the game.
Spitting is wrong. He should get in trouble for that. You shouldn't spit on other
oh
people.
my God.
I
Look,
try to. That's mean.
this is a generational thing, because I remember back in the day. Look, are we making a better society?
Why-
If we say,
I don't
come
know.
on, Vic. You were there with me, man. When football was a
Why
game.
bring this to the media?
Because everybody's woke. Everybody is woke. Someone spit on you. Oh my God. I mean,
That's a
when we
really big deal.
we
It's
were-
disgusting. And it's such an insult to be spit on.
I had a guy threw up on my hand on purpose.
come on,
Ew.
damn it,
He
though.
literally threw up on purpose on my damn hand.
You know what?
As we're getting ready to go into I played at the University of Missouri, and an offensive lineman literally went "Ugh," and laughed at me.
Don't
I know
spit on me,
I know
Eric.
that people listening to this are gonna hate me, and I always say it. There was a day when men were men in a locker room, or on a football field, or on
He
a
called me a name and
Yeah.
called me a slur.
there
I
was
can't
a
tell you how many times I was called slurs.
there was a
at
day
least 5 or 6.
there was a day when a grown man coach would grab a 8-year-old's face mask and pull it and say and coach them via grabbing their face mask. There was a day in this world where I saw fights in men's showers before. I've seen,
Are you sure there were fights?
I don't know, maybe there was a lot of soap flying around, but I've seen spitting is such a today thing. Back in you guys got to go look
It's
up.
disgusting.
You guys got to go look at what the guys like Conrad Dobler used to do. And you guys got to go look
But
at
you're
at
not
some of this.
You're not condoning it.
I'm not
right?
condoning it, but it's
Well,
not.
you're saying it's
To me, it's a
okay.
non-story.
It's
That's
a
my
huge,
point.
I,
To me,
I
it's a not-
disagree.
Well, you don't know football.
You don't.
I
You're
mean,
not a football
It
player.
doesn't have to be
You don't-
football.
you don't
But her
play
perspective is good to hear.
There's no
It is good
place
to hear.
in life, whether it's sports or politics or hanging out at the mall, whatever people do these days, that you should spit on another person. It's not acceptable in
No,
society.
you're right.
But
at
in
all.
but in
Period.
in a violent football game, you've never been a part of that in sports.
I don't have to be. It has
No.
nothing to do with it. It's
No, but I'm just telling
disgusting.
you, this stuff goes on all the
Yeah.
time.
It doesn't
And-
mean it should go on.
Well, no, it doesn't mean that it should, but it's hardcore physical battle. You're fighting. There's fluids going back and forth,
Yes.
snot going back
Yes.
and forth,
Yes.
and
Did you
it's-
spit on people when you played for
No,
Mizzou?
never.
Do you condone spitting on people?
No, I don't condone, and I don't condone any racial slurs. But I'm telling you, racial slurs are being said throughout games.
Oh,
For
yeah.
this coach to bring it to the light, and well, my guy got spit on. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Why are we? And then the media picks it up and makes it a national story.
Yeah.
If someone spits on me,
Talk
I'm
to
going
players.
to punch them in the face.
Yeah, but you're not in a football
not in that
battle. It's
scenario.
a different.
I would
thing.
still punch them in the face.
You're not in that. Yeah, I don't think that if you go to a dinner party with your boss, I don't think that's a good place
It's
to do it.
unsanitary.
are-
These days, who knows what kind of germs
I'm
people have?
I'm
It's
just saying. You
so
know what? This
gross.
is just a product of how you were brought up. You know, and that game, which is what she
And
used
you
to be
can't
violent.
prove, and you can't prove it. He said, "Well, I can't prove that he said it."
Yeah.
And then
Do we know what was said?
ESPN, no, and then ESPN runs it. Just
So you're saying
and
that,
it was during a fight. It was when pushing and shoving was going on.
so you're saying
during a
because
fight.
of the circumstances, it's football, things are crazy
And
in
it's a
football
fight,
anyway.
and a
Man,
fight's
I'll tell you,
going on.
you want to know something more
It's all
brutal
okay.
than football, where this stuff is not even talked about because it's so brutal, is go to see a hockey mom. I went. I'm telling
and
you
your
right now.
hockey
I'm
moms.
telling you right now. I have gone to 3 or 4 high school hockey games in the last few years. Those people are nuts.
Yeah, moms of kids who play hockey and football. They understand this.
The hockey moms spit on other moms. I'm telling you, those people are crazy.
Are the hockey moms more brutal than the soccer moms that you typically speak of?
The soccer moms are a little bit more. I don't know. They're a little more.
I see
laid
soccer
back.
moms as being the more liberal and hockey moms as being the more conservative.
I'm telling you, you go to a CBC versus DeSmet hockey game, it will get brutal, and it will be in the stands. I'm telling you right now. It's just the way that contact sports is. Contact sports is just, you're either into it or you're not into it. That's all there is to it. And some of the things that I've seen and Vic have seen should just stay where they're at.
Well, maybe it's just because I'm a girl that I think spitting is so gross. I will give you guys that.
Do you like contact sports?
Have I ever played a
No,
contact
do you
sport?
like contact sports? Do you get involved? You're like,
No.
tailgate and this and the other.
Absolutely.
You do not?
I like the party aspect of it. I've been to football games
but she
and
doesn't.
tailgates
She doesn't
and-
understand the physicality of the game, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because and she represents a lot.
And
of people.
my brother played football. I mean, I get it. I see it. My ex-boyfriend played hockey. I mean, I understand sports. It's not that.
Okay.
It's not my thing.
My only issue in bringing that was the whole damn situation of a coach trying to make it a public issue, which they know they're going to get headlines because that's what ESPN does. ESPN is woke. Everything that they do is woke. They have an agenda where they push out political headlines, political leanings, and they've become that way in the last 10 years. Instead of, and it's not all political, it's just one side. If you back their political leanings, you have a better chance of getting jobs there. It's why their viewership has dropped off.
Right.
It's what ESPN has become, and it starts with their top.
How
leadership.
ESPN became liberal, I will never.
And
figure
speaking
that
of
one
which,
out.
remember
Never.
somebody else who was canceled?
Who?
But she's still a dominant force. A very pretty African American woman, Sage Steele, who is a conservative. She's a morning anchor there. When she called out President Obama, the former President Obama, for neglecting his white mother who raised him, and said he calls himself black,
Right.
but he's half black, half white.
Yeah.
And because Sage Steele's also, and she says, I'm not black and I'm not white. I'm biracial. And the president is neglecting his white mom who raised him when she says his black dad wasn't around. She got suspended because
That's insane.
in an interview that she was doing, because she said, answering a question honestly, when it comes from the sports standpoint, what we're talking about. And so she got canceled with the ESPN leaning. So it was like a week or 2 weeks that she got canceled, suspended without pay. Now she got her job back. She was super popular.
She should have sued them.
And
That's
well, but
wrong.
if she sued them, she wouldn't have had a job.
I know.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show people forget how that stuff happens. But Sage Steele, a conservative, but they couldn't really totally cancel her. She was African American, smart, beautiful, very successful. But because she was doing an interview that had nothing to do with ESPN
Right.
at another place.
And she was right.
Right.
And she is right. But then people will say, well, technically by law, if you have one black parent, you're considered a minority. So you
And
are
that's-
considered black.
and-
but that's
And that's different.
and that rule was
That's
made, and that
different.
law, which was signed a long, long, long time
But
ago.
that's for
And nobody wants to touch it.
that's for paperwork
It is paperwork
purposes.
purposes.
It's not how you should identify. If you were, I'm not biracial. If I were biracial, I would be proud of both of my heritages, the black side and the white side.
Yeah, but ESPN tried to cancel her, suspended her
I know
because
it's ridiculous.
and that's how liberal ESPN has become over the years. And of course, they would take a headline from this football game, which Lane Kiffin, who's a media darling, brings out with no proof of that, which is unfortunate. And then ESPN, of course, we bring that up because of what they did. And it's a great topic with them trying to cancel Sage Steele because she said African Americans who say they're African American but have one white parent, that's a disrespect to the white parent.
You know, it's going to be fun 100 years from now. I'll meet you guys at Barnes & Noble, all three of us.
Barnes and Noble.
Are they still going to be around?
Maybe. we'll get
I
on.
thought you were going to say Starbucks.
We'll go to Starbucks
because you
still
know they'll
around.
be around.
But we're all going to meet 100 years from now. We're all going to look back on this
As
time.
ghosts. We're gonna be ghosts
We're going to
meeting.
look back on this time period, and we're going to say, how in the hell did an ESPN? Now we get MSNBC, we understand that. How did ESPN, which was the blue collar worker that liked watching the Pittsburgh Steelers play against the Seattle Seahawks on a Sunday, how did they become the station of transgenderism, of race relations, of woke culture? How in the hell?
Their ownership. Look into their ownership group.
Yeah, but how does
And
Chris
it'll
Berman
show you a lot?
There won't be any white people in 100 years.
And on that note, we'll see you tonight
Well-
at Wendy's, everybody. Good night.
Well, she's
Don't forget to tip your
I'm,
bartender.
Well,
I'm speaking the truth.
she's talking about trends, Eric. And,
Damn, Tabitha.
and while she's being
and
sarcastic,
this is
she
not,
is
well, I'm
onto
not
something.
being sarcastic. I'm being
There
100%
will be
truthful.
white people,
And it's not anything against
But-
minorities. It's not about that. It's that the goal of our
Yeah.
government and the goal of globalism is to have us all look the same, to mix and match us until we all look the same.
There's nothing wrong with mixing and matching. If
I
that's a
know. I
personal
completely agree with you.
So 100 years
It's-
from
I'm not
now,
saying
there's not
it's
going to
a
be any
bad thing.
Caucasian, is what you're saying.
I don't think so. I think that at some point,
Mhm.
at some point, the majority of
But-
Americans
Yeah.
will all
Remember,
look
100
very
years is not
similar
really
in
that
skin,
long.
in
You know,
skin tone.
This is interesting. Lizzie said, "My biracial family does not want to be considered a minority." The story's
No,
nuts.
exactly.
How
right. That's
ESPN
exactly
has
right.
ruined themselves with this liberal
Ruined.
culture.
Ruined.
Even Drew Collins, white people will be the minority in 10 years. I believe that to be true.
It's about 20. I thought it was about 20 years. When you look at the rates, that is true. The trends, Eric.
Yeah.
Of what's happening, 100% straight white.
And we're not saying good or bad.
But
It
guess
doesn't
what?
matter,
But guess what, Drew? That doesn't mean all black will be the majority.
Yeah, It's going to be, it might
Because
be
Drew, if
Latinos.
you're half black and you're
Yeah.
half white, you're biracial. You're not black.
Yeah. And not to
I
mention,
hope you
I
realize
never
that.
parse people out by their color of their skin anyway. I always parse.
Exactly.
I parse people out by you either want to be successful or you don't want to be successful. You either want money from the government or you don't want money from the government. Whichever one you want
Well,
is
not
fine.
even that. It's good.
I
you're-
do. That's
you're
how
either
I-
a good person or a bad person. It has
You're
nothing
either
to
a
do
good person
with skin color.
or you're a bad person. Yeah. I mean, if this,
You
this,
either follow the
the
golden
skin
rule or
color-
you don't.
there's nothing worse, Drew, than being this white. I can't go out in the sun without sun. So I think the skin tone thing is ridiculous. It is literally, and kudos to the owners of the world right now using melatonin, the melanin in your skin to separate us. That is genius. You guys are really good at what you do.
Yeah,
But
Lizzie,
the bottom line is this: you can be whatever color you want to be and be as successful in life as you want to be. You can be as happy in life as you want to be. So who gives a damn what color you are?
Lizzie
period.
says most will be bi or even tri-racial
Absolutely.
because
true.
America's a melting
We're all
pot.
bi and tri-racial right now.
We are.
Believe it or not.
Just what great.
Your
white
DNA
Mike
is
says.
not any way, shape, or form. Are you any kind of a purebred, my friend? I'm sorry. You're
Very
just
few
not.
of us. Yeah.
But on several publications, several broadcasting publications, written publications, if you say if what Sage Steele says, I'm not so sure people wouldn't try to cancel you anymore. This is a biracial woman
Yeah.
saying that people who are biracial need to say they're biracial. They're not African American.
Be proud of being biracial.
what's
There's
wrong with
nothing
that?
Be
wrong
who
with
you
that.
Isn't that the point? I mean,
There's
seriously,
nothing wrong
was
with that.
anybody less proud?
But I guarantee powers that be came down on ESPN to force her.
Was
into a
anybody
suspension.
less proud of Obama because his mom was white and his dad was African American?
My only issue
was
with
there
that.
was there anybody that didn't say this is the first not Caucasian? How about that? Our
Ooh.
first
He's
non
not the
our
first
first
black president.
non-Caucasian.
Let's have real quick
say
before
it out
Tabitha
there.
gets into it. What Tabitha's going to say is going to blow your mind. Glenn says the left, they like to compartmentalize everyone into racial categories, and as we know, that can cause division.
That's what they did. That's what I just said.
Intentionally.
I literally just I applauded the tactic of okay, guys. Here's the deal. I mean, I'm doing my best.
Tabitha, can you do me a
here's-
favor?
Here's
Yes.
Can you let Scotty back in? He locked himself out of the
Oh.
studio.
Here's my behind closed doors at the underground meeting with all of the people that are nefarious. Ready? It would be something like this. All right, guys. We got to split them up. A house divided never stands. So that kind of stuff. Anybody have any ideas? What can we do? Well, race is a big thing. Nobody's the same color, are they? Hold on, let me check on that. Is everybody? Nope. You're right. There are African Americans and white people living amongst each other. We can separate them by race.
Race,
All right,
social class.
Who's got the number to NBC right now? Right now. Okay, we need Ted Turner. Where's Ted Turner? Ted, we need you to talk to all your people at ESPN, and we need to make this an issue because white people who are called oppressors, they'll hate that, and it will divide the country. Ready? On one. Ready? Break. That is exactly what they did, and it worked. And we're stupid enough. We're stupid enough to buy into this because
we should not have issues of color.
We screwed
ever.
this whole thing up, man. We bought into their damn
and
separation.
Still buying into it. Kamala Harris.
Will you start calling her?
She's not black.
Her name is Kamala.
Cammie Harris is not black.
No, she's not. But
that's a good point, Tabitha makes.
But national media calls her a woman of color.
She is a woman of color.
But then people associate a woman of color with being black. It's just
but they do call her black. They say she's the first
and
black
let me just
vice
say
president.
This.
She's not black.
The people thing
and her makeup again was let everybody know
she's Indian and Jamaican.
Bingo.
Okay, so
Jamaican is where she gets her color.
Correct.
Whatever.
Well, Indian
too.
But
and Indian.
Again,
and
you're buying
Obama,
it,
but people call her
Hawaiian.
black.
You're buying into it. You're having a conversation when that's not even the important part of the conversation. Again, we go back and we should do a sitcom where we have this underground nefarious deep state kind of boardroom, and we do what the next thing you do is you destroy the currency. Who's got an idea on destroying the currency? The U.S. dollar is pretty strong right now. How do we do that, Vic?
We need to go check the Simpsons episodes to see when that happened because we already know.
Yeah. So the nefarious
you divide by race, religion, wealth, and location.
Exactly. How do you make the dollar?
Now
worth
that
nothing?
one you can
St. Louisans do it. Have done it forever. The whole high school where you're from. That whole situation.
Oh yes, a big divide.
Adding a little levity to the situation, Derek Pratt, who by the way made our incredible coolies, the cancel this coolies that we have, and tonight we've got about 15 to give away. We got to figure out how we're going to give the coolies away tonight.
What's
Maybe
a coolie?
Whoever can drink the most.
That's called a coolie.
Did you already give yours away?
No, I sold it on eBay.
Okay. Somebody wanted it.
I'm
That'd
joking.
be awesome if they did.
I drink
well,
coffee
Derek.
every morning.
So we got some cool white ones to give away tonight.
Yes,
they're badass. Plus, he made us. And by the way, if you come to the party tonight, we have a big wood, like a white wood sign with the cancel this logo on it, so everybody can sign.
Oh, that's going to be really
Derek,
nice.
that was freaking badass. It's awesome. Wait till you see it. Well, Derek, adding a little levity to our conversation, says, well, according to the Crayola Colors of the World box, he says, I'm medium almond. So technically, I'm a person of color.
I am a person of color. You guys probably don't even know that. I am a very good percentage is pale and white and ghostly as I am on this camera today. I have a very large ancestry of Native Americans, but you'd never know by looking at me, but you would by other members of my family.
What
so
kind?
I'm technically
Apache,
Choctaw.
Oh yeah, there's a country song about the Choctaw.
Half Cherokee and Choctaw.
There you go.
Scotty.
No, that was Tim McGraw, right?
She's one of a kind.
Yeah, Tim McGraw. There you go.
Indian outlaw. Our own Indian outlaw, Tabitha Hassel.
That's right.
Okay, Tabitha. Who was the first?
You never know by looking at me.
Okay, Tabitha. Who was the first African American president if it wasn't Obama?
Oh, there we go. Look at her.
You have to educate me.
Sometimes you got to reset her brain. Sometimes you can screw with her so bad. You have to reset.
If there was one, I'm not aware of it.
Go hit her on the back of the head. Pump.
Do you have something? You know something I don't know?
No,
Tabitha is waiting with bated breath.
I asked you the question.
We have never had a black president.
No.
Is that what you asked me? Maybe I missed
Tabitha.
the question.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood. You said we all know in your Tabitha way. You well, no, Obama wasn't the first black president.
There we go.
Well, I meant we have never had a black president. We have a biracial. We had a biracial president.
Which one?
And
Oh,
he
so
should be
that's what you
proud
mean.
of
Oh,
being
you're
a-
talking about
Oh,
Obama.
I'm
I thought-
saying
yes,
Obama.
gotcha.
Okay,
I'm saying Obama should be proud of his biracial status.
Gotcha.
He was
Gotcha.
not the first black president. We've
Gotcha.
not had a black president. We don't have a black VP. We have a biracial
Yeah.
VP, and there's nothing wrong with either of those things. My only issue with them calling Barack Obama a black man or him identifying as
Yeah.
black is when they use it to get ahead or a claim to fame that they don't deserve.
This is great conversation. You never know where we're going to go. It really is. It's just be honest, be direct, be real. But we already know when media messaging gets a hold of things, before you know it, it goes into a different atmosphere. What do you think, Scotty? Were you getting ready to say something?
No, I was.
Oh, I thought I was like,
I was, but I'm going to refrain.
Come on,
Uh-oh, must have
man.
been something good. You
well,
better say
it's
it.
interesting, Tabitha, because what you said when I thought. Go
What?
ahead. No, I was going to say something else. I'm sorry.
Well, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, Amy says, what about Lincoln? Did he have black heritage?
Did he?
I don't
didn't
know.
that.
I
It'd be,
don't
it'd
think
be a
so.
lesson to me.
He
He did.
kind of has some features that would lend that, I think.
He was very tall.
I think most of us probably do somewhere in our heritage have all sorts of different things. I mean, that's what American is,
Yeah,
right?
just do a DNA test.
Yeah.
It'll tell you got about 17.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
True,
We're all
true.
a combination.
Drew called
of
you Elizabeth
everything.
Warren, Tabitha.
I-
Claiming your Indian heritage.
I'm going to apply for my casino tomorrow.
Come on,
my God.
Choctaw. Let's do
Bill
something.
Clinton identified as black, I think, didn't he?
He did. He said he's the first black president.
Just leave me alone.
Al Gore created it.
Our politicians say some of the most jacked up stuff. That's no doubt. There's
It's
no doubt
crazy.
about that.
Let's see. Matthew says she was an affirmative action pick from the get-go and probably the worst available, talking about Kamala, I'm sure. She is crude, disrespectful, and grossly incompetent.
She probably spits on her employees.
And
too.
she doesn't like black people, is what's even funnier about
Oh my
it.
God,
gosh.
Tabitha.
Why would you say that, or what evidence?
Because
or
at
facts?
one time, remember, she was in the state of California and is actually, and this is a fact, she is responsible for incarcerating more black people in the state of
So
California.
you're giving
She
her
was the
credit for
attorney
doing
general.
her job.
Exactly.
And when she was in California,
What do you want her to do?
and that's why a lot of black folks don't like her, quite honestly.
What do
and
you want
now
her to do?
all of a sudden, her role has reversed, and they keep her big mouth shut and keep her under tap.
No, they
All
don't.
she does is cackle here and there.
Troy says in here that Obama got a Nobel Prize for being the first black president. Is
He
that
did.
true?
He did.
Yes,
Just
he
for
did.
being the first black president.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for chiming in, Scott. We like it.
What?
It's not even Conspiracy Friday yet.
No,
I know. Like, that's not a conspiracy. Apparently, it's true.
and
It's
this
like-
is the best part.
Scotty says the weirdest stuff.
we
I'll shut up
embrace we embrace who we are, and we should embrace who we are, as Lizzie says. America
Absolutely.
is a beautiful ray of colors.
That is absolutely correct.
True.
Absolutely.
We
correct.
are.
And I'll tell you what, and it's not about my thing with Obama is not about color, because I'll tell you what, Rick Scott, I would vote for him in a heartbeat.
Rick Scott, the African American Republican South
Yeah.
Carolina senator.
Who's that?
Condoleezza Rice, I would have voted for her.
Really? What
Absolutely.
about that
Congressman, excuse
Simone?
me.
What's her name? The lieutenant governor in Virginia. She came on. With,
Oh, yeah.
what's her name? I can't remember her name.
Sears?
Sears.
She's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely. I want to elect the people who will do the job. It has nothing to
It
do
really doesn't.
with the color of their skin.
It really doesn't.
If they can represent us and do a good job, that is the only thing that
Yeah.
matters.
It is. That's true. And it shouldn't be brought up. I mean,
I concur.
Winsome. Is that how you say her name?
yeah, Winsome Sears.
There you go. That's right.
Terry says, I don't get why we emphasize skin color so much. Well, who does it?
It's
Is it media?
it is.
Is it national media
Yes.
messaging?
Bingo. Ding ding
To
ding ding.
divide,
ding,
like
puts it
Eric
out.
said, yeah, to divide us.
Instead of
Absolutely
talking
so.
about it.
Yeah.
And people who want division or race or even a lot of times reparations now will talk about color this, color that, color everything.
You know, I maybe one day I can get this guy on the air. I don't even know how to find him anymore. But
We're
I had-
still waiting on your
I
son
had
and
a-
his girlfriend.
Oh, they'll be here next week. But there was a guy. There was a guy in Seattle that, and I wish maybe he listens, maybe he doesn't. But he was a business owner. I owned an ad agency in Seattle, Washington. But I always knew him. He always ran in the same circles. Maybe he was a billionaire back then, but I think he was a multi-millionaire. He had a yacht, and he always Christmas time, he would always invite his buddies on. And he used to tell me, he goes, Eric, the best thing that's ever happened to a guy like me, he was an African-American through and through, successful business. The best thing ever happened to me was when people, he goes, there's the media telling people how racist everything is. He goes, because that gave me a one-shot lane to being successful. He was serious about it too. He was like, he goes, I'm the kind of person that goes, you can tell me whatever one, I was going to be successful. And that's whenever our old friends that used to come on this show, I go, the best thing that could happen to St. Louis is to pick these people up, not give them government handouts, and they will not take it. Every single person in St. Louis County, St. Louis City could be successful if they only knew how they could do it. And I always love that story because he made more money than I'll ever make in my entire life, and he did it by himself. And he swears upon, I did it because I believed in myself. And that's how everybody needs to be. I don't care if you're black, Latino, white. I don't care what you are. You can be successful.
You can do
anything you want to do.
Some people have a tougher road there.
Not really.
It is
Tabitha.
the lottery of
No.
birth in this country.
You need to you're right. You need to wake up in the morning and go, I am downtrodden. I am in a really bad house. I don't have any money. And then you got to start to figure out, how do you break the cycle? How do you get out? How do you become successful? And it can happen fast.
Yeah, but you need people
can.
around you that can help you and show you that.
And that's where where these Democratic.
But you're talking about going into some conservative ideas, and as we have seen, if you're African American and you start to push or promote or trump for a conservative ideal or policy or become quote Republican, ask them about being canceled.
I'm going to tell you something.
African Americans get canceled by society, in a large number, and canceled by media if they choose a conservative path or ideals or even economic principles.
It is so true.
That might be conservative or Republican. And then you have to fight that uphill battle.
Don't you, as an African American, don't you feel just disrespected by the Democrats saying, you will vote for me? I don't see who you're going to vote
Biden.
for.
Well, Joe Biden
exactly
did
what
that
he said.
recently
You are
in his election.
I mean, don't you feel
you're black? You got to vote for me.
Don't you have a disgusted
Rappers
feeling?
came out and said, "Wait a second, Joe," and went against.
But they still vote for him. It doesn't matter.
Well, you don't know who voted
Ice
for
Cube
who.
didn't.
Here's what you do: if you're a Democratic leader, you know that if I give you $300 a week, here's your $300. You'll vote for me, right? Right. If they really wanted to help these communities, I would have a task force going around to every house going, come here, sir. What would you want to do in life? Yeah, I want to be an entrepreneur. Fantastic. We will help you with that program. What do you want to do? I want to be a hairdresser. You can make a lot of money being a hairdresser. Fantastic. We'll help you. Don't you think that we should spend the money, not helping them with their bills? That's only going to
mentorship programs.
Not mentorship programs,
No.
but literally come down to these downtrodden communities and said, what do you want to do? And then educating them, giving them mentorship,
Ty Dennis,
giving them into an incubator program, making sure their community is safe.
But
that's only going to work for a small percentage.
Man, I got to run for a mayor.
You should run for it. But Lizzie, damn, you were on fire today, Lizzie.
She always is.
Think about this. Black conservatives are disrespected a whole lot more by white liberals.
Yes,
on the daily.
Black
conservatives.
Oh my God.
And African American or black liberals allow white liberals to disrespect black conservatives on the daily.
Woo!
Yes, they do.
That is profound. Think about that. And they do.
Preach.
Why? Do you really care about the race? Do you really care about the culture?
No.
Or is it all about your own messaging for what you want?
It's your power.
It's all a narrative.
It's your power grid.
That is profound. That really is profound. That's so true. We've seen Schumer and Pelosi do it for years. Go after black conservatives, and black liberals sit there and let them call them out for their race.
Yep.
You had congressmen calling out Tim Scott by racist names and not being put to task by white Democratic leaders.
Yes.
That's big.
Yes.
But is anything going to change in the Democratic Party?
Man,
no.
It's a shame. And you know who's perpetuating this stuff? LeBron James. People like LeBron James. And when you're told you are the victim, you need to listen to us as Democrats. We'll help you. And they don't.
But we've had African Americans on this show who have ripped Candace Owens, who says she just bought and paid for.
And guess what? Candace
who have
Owens is a
ripped Tim Scott,
multimillionaire.
who have ripped Winsome Sears, who have ripped Ben Carson, all of these people being very intelligent, using what they can, their own brains to go out and make a living, and getting ripped for it because they have conservative ideals.
Yeah. And make no bones about it. There are African Americans out there that are highly successful.
Well,
and you know what?
Eric,
And you know
yeah,
what?
of
They
course.
and guess what? They do, and they're influencers. And guess what? They don't take money from the government. And guess what? Those are the people that it will take to really change the system. It will be them saying, I don't know what these guys are feeding you, but if you want this, you need to believe in yourself and not believe in these democratic urban flaws. And you need to start. And I'm not saying you have to vote for Republicans either, but you have to understand how to lift these communities up out of poverty. And it can be done. Unfortunately, it starts with what's inside of your own brain.
Someone asked on the comment line where Drew is. He's getting ready for the party tonight.
I
Sure of
hope.
it.
he's not coming.
I hope. I'd love to meet the guy face to
He's not
face.
coming. The Holly weirdos tell a lie and vision work for FBI, CIA, DNC.
Yeah, it's so dark. It really is dark. It feels. Yeah. I mean, I guess we're lucky living in where we live. I live in St. Charles.
We are
Missouri.
very lucky. You know, all
And
of us in
St.
this room are
Charles
very lucky.
St. Charles is kind of this wholesomeness. It's kind of middle of the country. There's not a beach. There's not great land. There's not great topography. But there are people there that we keep that crap away from us somehow. I don't know how we do it.
We have phenomenal leaders in
Yeah.
St. Charles County, no
Yeah.
question. And quite honestly, in Missouri, we have some great leaders in the state
And
of
we have
Missouri.
listeners all over the country on our Facebook line, YouTube, wherever you are. I mean, you know what it's like, what the makeup is, where you're around and how it goes. I mean, part of my family lives in California in the Temecula Marietta area. And while they live in a state that is ultra liberal and getting more liberal, even though 300,000 people left the state last year, their small communities are more like-minded, more thinking, the business there.
Absolutely.
But the state of California is different. So it can change from state to state. But yes, but you talk about it, St. Charles County, Eric, and then you move over into St. Louis County.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it's very different.
I mean,
It used to not be that different.
no, every one of these urban areas used to be a blue collar Democratic area. You got up, you wanted your pension after the age of 65. You got to work. You had your little pail. You had your lunch pail. You went to work. You got in the union. You made as much money as you could. You lived in a modest house. You voted Democrat. You had your union patch on. It was a very American way of life.
Because
American way
we
of
used
life.
to be proud of being American.
Yeah.
All Americans were proud of being American.
And Democrats didn't necessarily want wealth. They looked at their wealth.
I disagree.
I disagree with
because
that.
there was the Wall Street guys also, the greed dudes back in the 80s, as they call them, the guys that had hedge funds. They wanted wealth. And so that was the difference between the conservative Republicans and the Democrats back in the day.
Well,
where I came from.
But you have to remember,
Right?
we founded this country.
And there wasn't a lot of middle ground in there. Now it's all middle ground. You have people that say I'm a Democrat, but I don't really believe in this transgendered stuff. I don't understand it. I'm a Democrat, but oh my God, you want open borders? So it's all a gradient. The Democrats are
Things have changed.
Yeah, things have changed so much.
There was a time when Americans actually cared about America on all sides. On all sides, we were never this divided. I mean, we've had divisions, but never like this. Now, somebody, of course, who lived 100 years ago might tell me I'm wrong.
No, but not well.
But I feel like things were different at one point in time. Because
don't
at
know.
one point, people were so busy trying to survive
But I do know
and fight
media.
for survival,
no.
they didn't have time for all this ridiculous.
National media still tries to divide by color. There is absolutely
Oh,
no
now,
doubt, no
now,
doubt.
yes.
No doubt.
But I don't recall that being as big of an issue. And I'm not talking about in our lifetimes.
but not with me and the people I hang out with of color. It just my group, not even like that.
Exactly. I don't know one person that's of color. That was so stupid, but one person of color in my circles, they do not think of themselves as a victim.
Oh, same with
Not one.
the people I know.
And we don't think of them in any other way until you get into a elementary school and it's like victim, oppressor.
Well, you don't
You
see
guys
it in
work
your
it out.
community. You don't see it in your own community. You just see it on the news.
I think
mean,
we're more divided by politics.
absolutely so.
But media tries to bring the color into the fact of politics.
Correct.
I mean, hell, we're more divided by politics and leaders and the pandemic than anything. And we have seen that happen.
Yeah.
Which is just bizarre. By the way, while we have people here still too, it'll be our last thing. Tonight, we have our party. So come on out, have a good time. If you want to stop by, even if it's for a quick, love to see you. Wenty's in the Chesterfield Valley. There's parking behind the place. So please pass that word on. The front of Wenty's can get crowded pretty quick, but there's a big, massive parking lot right behind Wenty's and a building, a big office building. So you have plenty of parking there.
Plenty
so don't
of
freak out if you
parking.
I
pull
don't
in.
think that many people will show up. It'll be me, you, and Drew.
Okay.
Look at the look.
Yeah. I'm like,
Look
once
at the
again,
look. And by the way,
use the back parking lot. You're going to need to.
Drew Collins will show up. It'll be
He
us.
might.
We might do a puppet show.
That's why he's not on the comment line. He's taking a shower, getting ready, fixing
He's-
his hair.
Yeah. And by the end of the night, he'll have an epiphany.
Putting on a zoot suit.
Yep.
He'll have an epiphany. He'll go, "Oh my gosh, Eric, I am a Republican. Thank you."
That-
I'll say you're welcome.
And then you wake up from your
And
dream.
I'll say you're welcome.
That is not happening.
Drew.
There is no way Drew is coming.
And
tonight.
hopefully the guy that wants to murder me is not there either.
That's not even funny.
It's not funny, but but
Told
I'm
you not to
saying
worry
it.
about that.
Well, I am worried about it. And I'm saying it because it's a real threat. And sometimes when you do this kind of job, those are the threats you face. And there is somebody who was on this show commenting, they left several comments, who said that I should be murdered and that my mouth should be stitched shut specifically.
Damn.
And when we have these
Tabitha,
events,
did you call the cops?
No.
Why not?
You saw the messages.
That seems a little bit direct, if you ask me.
There's probably some days where Eric wouldn't mind the mouth
I
being
know.
stitched.
It wouldn't be a stitching. It'd be more like a duct taping.
But it goes to show when you're out like this
kidding.
and you're speaking
It's a
the
joke.
truth, people don't always like it.
Gorilla
And
Tab.
it can become a true threat.
Just kidding, Tab.
No, that did happen, by the way. And you just don't know if things are serious or not, or people get behind the keyboard and like
Yes,
I say,
they
they
do.
become keyboard warriors. They put that stuff out there, but yeah, we're gonna have a great time. Look up it's in Chesterfield Valley, not all that far from our studios, that's for sure. We'll give away some we've got about, I think it's like 15 Cooley cups. We've got to figure out a way how to do that, whether there's drawings or something. We'll come up with a way.
It's going to be the person who drinks the most cancel the shots.
Oh,
No,
that's not even funny.
I'm
Oh,
kidding.
I just got sick.
I know.
Yeah.
I just got
Just knowing we got to be here tomorrow, thinking about that.
oh, just can you get us on?
Can we start at like 7:10?
Yeah.
We did anyway.
Look, hold on. Scotty brings up a great point. Everybody who's on the Facebook chat line right now, let's raise our hands. If you guys want to, if you guys want to start the show tomorrow at 9 because of a hangover,
Well, we can't.
I'm
do
raising
9.
my hand
Well,
right
the
now.
problem
Eight
is
would
9
be the
o'clock.
earliest.
9 o'clock.
Eight
Everybody.
would be the
We don't
earliest.
have anybody to answer to. There's no general manager out there.
Only
Let's
sponsors.
How about 9 o'clock for cancel this?
Yeah.
Everybody raise
Well,
their hand.
considering that we have an interview at 8,
Damn
that's-
it.
you need to at least be here by 7:30.
I'm setting up an interview for 6:30
we,
with Cammie Harris.
we have a really busy day tomorrow because
We've got a shower in the building. You should just come over here and sleep. We're less than a mile from
Is
Windsor.
there a
you go.
shower in the building here?
You didn't even know that?
What kind of goodness do we live in over here?
oh,
My God.
The spa's coming too.
It is you know what?
You're
It
going to
is-
have a polar plunge here, a
Yeah.
sauna,
Wow.
steam, it's either the sauna or the steam room. Eric, you got it all here, man.
Man, I didn't know
The
about
weight
that.
room, just
I
the
saw the
equipment's
massage
coming in.
chair. I saw the massage.
I get in
chair.
that occasionally.
Do
It's
you
good.
really?
Yeah, it gets me ready for the show.
Okay.
we've got a busy day, Eric. You better get your behind up and moving.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got cardiologist
We cannot wait for that.
Joe who was canceled because he spoke out against Dr. Fauci. Cardiologist, not just cardiologist. He has a national audience. He's going to join us at 8:00. Then there's a medium
Shannon Rock.
that Scotty Gherkin
Can't
wanted us to
wait.
get. So that's on at 9:00. And by the way, because we had some people who were wondering about that, that doesn't. Some people love that, but that doesn't mean we support it. We're giving all opinions. I'm not somebody who supports it and never will, but that doesn't mean I'm going to cancel The Voice. It's one of those opportunities where we're going to talk. It's a very interesting subject, that's for sure.
And she's getting into ghost hunting too, which is
Yeah.
another thing that we can discuss because of the with Howard Scott. Is that who it was?
Howard Scott.
Who was
Walter.
it?
Walter.
Walter Scott. Howard. Walter.
Eric's ghost.
Howard was his-
Howard. Walter.
Howard was his brother. He's dead too.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Oh, cinema.
I have no
The
idea.
Scott brothers.
Yeah, the Scott
Scotty
brothers.
brothers.
They were going to start a band, but then they both got killed.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether or not you support psychics. It's going to be a very interesting.
You're my sidekick.
Psychics.
Oh, sidekick. Gotcha.
It's going to be a very interesting conversation either way, because we're going to be covering all sides of the psychic debate.
What is the debate? If you're a religious person and you have a psychic
There
on your
were
what?
people who are very
Well, if you believe in the
upset.
Bible,
hell?
well, listen, if you believe in the Bible and
Yeah.
biblical scripture, you're supposed to stay far away from it. And I do.
Yeah.
And that's why I told Scotty, I was like, yeah, bring her on. I'm not going to be disrespectful to anybody,
Of course not.
but I'm also going to let people know, listen, if you believe in scripture, you should not do this.
Well, intuition would be the same thing. Do you follow intuition?
God,
That would be the same where that comes from.
look.
I
you know what?
believe.
Everybody.
So that's why Eric's, and we can talk more about it
I
tomorrow.
believe, yeah, you use the gifts God gave
But
you.
I run from it, and
Do
that's
you-
fine.
You run
Yeah,
from it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So wait a minute. Hold on. Stop the car. If somebody
Pull over.
if somebody listen to me, and this has happened to me before, I consider myself a Christian. Hold on.
Hold on. You're going to knock the camera off.
Well, I don't mean to do that. If
Settle
someone,
down.
if a medium comes up to you and they say not one, not two, not three, not four, but things that only other people would know, and they look at you and go, "Oh, hey, there's this person, and they know about blah blah
Mhm.
blah." Would you then go, "What the hell does this person know?"
Never,
My
because-
personal. What you think they're doing? It's
You're
a trick.
asking. No, I'm going to explain this tomorrow, but it has to do with demons, and you may not agree.
I have no
and
idea.
People don't have to agree, but we're going to get into tomorrow why you stay away from
So
it
is the medium a demon?
and why I go. No, I'm not saying, but mediums can
Mediums.
hear.
Mediums.
And I was like, Eric, why you call them mediums?
Wait a minute. So wait a minute, and I got to know this for my own for my own knowledge. If a psychic comes up to you and goes, "Oh, there's a lot of love and a lot of light around you," and it's your mom, and your mom
Slippery.
is ABC,
Slippery slope again.
is that not?
You have to be careful about where we're told to stay
Really?
away from it. We're scripturally told to stay away from it
Do you think
because that means you're using
this
something
is a
else rather than
great
God.
show
But
topic?
once again,
Man,
everybody's
this is a good one. I'm
But
the
guess
kind of
what? I'm not.
I'm not going to
Hey,
slam
did
anyone's
we have
religion.
to have this on? No, but we're bringing out of respect. It's
I am the kind of person I think if Jesus was dropped right in the middle of a cathedral, he would go, "Damn, this is pretty. Is this for me?" He would look around the cathedral and goes, "How much did this cost to build?
hey, but you know
$20
what?
million?
Eric,
Let's break this thing down and take that money to the homeless out here." That's the kind of person I think I am.
Eric,
in
guess
religion.
what?
But I don't slam any religion.
if somebody came up and said play these numbers for the lotto, you better believe I'm going to play them.
Oh, damn.
a little
Look at
double-sided
Look at
now.
That was that
you
was
know that's true though.
that was a joke from the.
I'm
Facebook
calling her
Live.
and saying,
No.
give Vic some lottery numbers.
I know.
tomorrow."
Yes.
Oh my God.
You know you would.
Guys,
10,
we love
11,
the show.
21, 36.
Can I add something before we
Please.
get too far?
No.
What
I mean,
about
yes.
what about the possibility that we all have the capability? They say that we're only using 10% of our brain power. What if we all have these capabilities that if we knew how to use them, we would be considered psychics? What if God made
Bingo.
us this
Bingo.
way?
I think that here's the breakdown that
Doesn't matter.
the Bible was written in parables. Listen to me.
yes
The
and no.
Bible was written in parables because the
Not on this specific
because the
issue. We got to do
universe-
this tomorrow.
I know, but
This
the
is
universe
you keep trying to do it. This conversation's tomorrow.
the universe cannot communicate to us roaches. I've got a good analogy for that, and I'll do it tomorrow. But
I
no,
love
you
it.
shouldn't be scared
And
of that
that's-
stuff. You
It's not
shouldn't
a
be
matter
scared
of being scared. It's a matter of being a.
It's
Either-
a matter of beliefs.
You either follow your teaching or you don't.
The
So that's it.
Shannon, the Weedium has spoke of this many times.
the
And
Weedium-
there's a
the
lot of
Weedium
people
has
that are
spoken.
against it.
And guess what?
I love it.
We're free speech here, baby.
And
I
she
know.
has, Scotty,
That's what we
she
are.
has a TV show, correct? Coming up.
She's
She's got
working on
something in the
producing,
works.
a
Well,
reality
I
show
can't
based on-
listen. We can't wait to interview her and have her on, and we'll treat her with respect. And that's what it's about.
Yeah.
You have
No,
your voice.
I don't know what a demon does, but
You don't
I
wanna
I
know.
don't want to know.
No, you
No,
don't.
I don't.
But
I would imagine it has something to do with a PRL backstage show.
Oh, she knows what happened. No,
That's awesome.
Oh,
Guys,
my
let's cancel this. Hey, the party tonight at 7 p.m. at
Yeah.
Wendy's. Thanks for making this show go by so fast. It is the fastest 3 hours of broadcasting anywhere. We'll see you tonight. Share the show as always. Canceltheshow.com.
Yeah.
Make sure people know about us. If people want to get involved, Lizzie does our sales. She's busy as hell because she's lining up the people right now, the companies. We're grateful. Thank you for the support. We plan on being around for a while, and it's working pretty damn well. Scotty Gherkin, Eric Johnson, Deb the Hassle. I'm Vic Faust. It's Cancel This. Continue to join us each day, and we'll see you for the party tonight. And if you can't make the party, we'll be here 7-ish tomorrow morning.
7-ish.
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 All right. Have an awesome day. Thanks for joining us for Cancel
Yeah.
This.